everyone, hello, and welcome back to At the Table, the show that asks you to pull out your chairs, get out your TTRPG books, and join us at the table. Today we're going to be talking about the new playtest that Paizo dropped, I think, just last week. Last week we did the Psychic, and they are an awesome, very versatile class with lots of great damage potential. No matter what path you pick, you're probably going to have a fun time helping out the party and getting some good shots in combat. Yeah. Today we're covering the second class in the playtest, the Thaumaturgist, and we have very little to no idea what this is. We're reading this with the same fresh eyes that you are hearing it with, and so we're just going to get into introductions and get right into it. That being said, Mr. Michael Powell, please tell them who you are and where they can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
Well, as always, I am the dastardly dashing Michael Powell, and you can find me all over the internet on my social medias, which are usually at Mr. Kapow, that's M-R-K-A-P-A-O. And how about you, PJ?
My name is PJ McGaw. You can find me all over the internet at pj.mcgaw. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Come find me, come friend me. Let's have fun. And hopefully I can start putting some more stuff on TikTok in the next months to come. But that being said, so the Dark Archive came out about a couple of weeks ago, and they released two classes. If you guys weren't there for the announcement, there's a lot of hype, and now we finally got them. These seem to be more for darker flavored games, for darker flavored fantasy worlds, but also for games that deal with the mystical and beyond the veil. And with that being said, Mr. Michael Powell, why don't you kick it off with that sweet flavor text?
Well, before I do, can I share something with the class?
Of course.
I learned something new about Pathfinder Galarion. Like I said, for me, the Pathfinder world, Galarion, is somewhat new to me. Unlike PJ, who's been adventuring in those realms for many, many, many years. But I learned that the Dark Archives is actually a faction in the Pathfinder Society. Yeah. They're kind of like... well, how it was described to me, kind of like a organization like the X-Files, a little bit. Yeah, the Pathfinders is a very multifaceted, really cool bit of lore within the Pathfinder gaming stuff from Paizo. And, they deal with, like, a lot of the darker, creepier, spiritual stuff, because the Pathfinder is about knowledge. And sometimes your knowledge has to go a bit beyond... like dungeons and archaeological finds. Yeah. I think this organization and the Exchange are going to be my contenders for my personal Pathfinder Society faction.
Indeed. And, and it's never wrong to pull inspiration. That being said, Michael Powell, let's kick off with that flavor text so we can get right to what this Thaumaturgist class has to offer.
All right. And also, I got a little game I want let's play. How many times does Michael mispronounce That's one. Two. Thaumaturge and Thaumatology.
Like
2.5.
We joked about having this be a drinking game. Whenever one of us got it wrong, we had to take a shot. Now, I don't have any alcohol with me in the house right now. Michael Powell, if you want to play by yourself, you absolutely can.
I don't want to die.
And I'll just DD you the whole way through.
Anyway.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah. I'll drink coffee. But anyway, here is the flavor text. The world is full of the unexplainable, magic, gods, and even stranger things. You salvage the best parts of every magical tradition and folk practice to glean deeper laws of the universe, like the rule of three, the laws of symbolism, and the chains of sympathetic connections. You built up a collection of Esoterica, a broken relic here, a sprig of mistletoe there, that aids you in capitalizing on the weakness of any creature, and you carry a special implement whose symbolic function aids you in manipulating the world around you. Every path of power has its restrictions and costs, but you definitely turn them all to your advantage. You're the Thaumaturge.
Taking that shot of coffee.
You're a Thaumaturge, and you work wonders.
That's right. I'm already excited about this. I haven't seen a lot into this. I kind of like poked around the first few pages. The knowledge that this class presents is really fascinating. The first thing is, even though it's a knowledge-based class, your key ability is charisma, as you are probably going to be using your knowledge in connection with spirits instead of the arcane. You have an 8 hit point, so you're basically kind of statted like a cleric, which is kind of nice. You're not too squishy. You start off with an expert in perception. You get trained in fortitude, reflex, expert in will. So you're already pretty good at fighting the spiritual stuff. Now, this is what I find really exciting about this. You are trained in arcana, nature, occultism, and religion at the start. You basically have the knowledge of all things not mundane, instead of like some classes that only get one or the other. And then it's a number of additional skills equal to 2 plus your intelligence modifier. So what's cool about this is that the crux of every skill you're going to need already taken care of. So after that point, just pick what else you want to be good at. Now, you are trained in simple martial weapons and unarmed attacks, so you have some basic combat skills. I doubt this class is going to get too combat-y. Your defenses are trained in light and medium armor and unarmored defense, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you might actually get a little bit of fighty stuff going on. And, of course, you are trained in the Thaumaturge class DC, but I should note, no spell DC. This may not be a spell casting class. For those who have already read, this is probably a no duh. But for those who don't know yet, it's kind of interesting to think that you're a charisma-based character with every single knowledge of magic, and you don't cast any spells.
Oh, yeah. If you were on the Gen Con panel when they were talking about this playtest, the class itself, one of the classes, or one of the characters, the designers said that the Thaumaturge is based on is Constantine.
You know, and that does make a lot of sense. Like the knowledge of these things and the item, like what's his name? Constantine does oftentimes like take his magical powers from deals he's already made, from items that he has, from little rituals that literally anyone could do. But I want to say he does actually have some spell casting potential. Well, I haven't read the comics in a long time.
The comic books, yes, but I want to say we're talking about the Keanu Reeves movie Constantine.
Yeah, and that's 100%. That dude was just like, like the John Wick of Catholics.
Yeah, and also I want to say even
John Wick of Catholics.
Hellboy.
Yeah, often like Hellboy, because that was like a whole like none. Well, none of them had magic; they were just science.
Yeah, like Hellboy was. Yeah, he was a demon. I would say Pathfinder was one flavor him a tiefling or something like that. But he had no real, sorcery of his own. He just he used like magical items, or like used folklore to his advantage.
Yeah, and I think that may be kind of what we're walking into here. Someone whose knowledge of stuff and the folklore of stuff is going to be their biggest weapon.
Yeah.
That being said, why don't we start cracking further into this? So off the bat, this is going to be one of those classes I think that just has so much going on at level 1.
Yeah.
You get all your ancestry background, initial proficiencies. You get dubious knowledge for free. Now, if you don't know what the dubious knowledge skill feat is, basically it means that if you roll anything to recall knowledge, as long as it's not a critical fail, you still get some knowledge about the item. It just, or the thing. It just may not have come from a good place.
Yeah. I kind of want to say it's very I want to say is you got to work really closely with your GM, and the GM's going to have to put in a little extra work, because like if you fail, you're going to have to, the GM will have to on the spot make up a little, little false information to throw in with the truth there.
Well, it's not so that it's false information. It's still the true information. However, the problem is, and this is the thing that GMs have to go through, the hierarchy of information. Like, what is the thing that's worthy of a crit? What's the thing worthy of a success, and what's the thing worthy of a fail? Like, I want to fight a dragon. how do I kill it? Critical fail would be like, well, you know, it's got a weakness this to this, what this element. Success is like, you know, it doesn't like ice or whatever. And then a fail could be like, it looks really warm. Like, you know, how do you,
Yeah.
that's the way that's always kind of a hard mechanic to go off of.
Before we go into the next ability, should we go into the key terms or should we just jump into the next ability?
I feel like the ability and the key term kind of goes hand in hand, at least that of the Esoterica.
Okay. Should I take it or are you gonna?
Why don't you take it?
All right. Esoterica. You have a collection of Esoterica objects with symbolic significance, bits of various materials known for supernatural affinities, and items used in folk practices. These might include cold iron nails, scraps of scrolls and scriptures, fragments of bone purported from a saint, and other similar objects. You wear your Esoterica in a small bag or pouch somewhere on your person that makes it easy to access. While you can eventually learn to use your Esoterica for a variety of benefits, the first technique every thaumaturgist learns is how to leverage a creature's antithesis to harm it. Lots of big SAT words. You gain the Find Flaws and Esoteric Antithesis actions, which combine to find and exploit an enemy's weaknesses. So this kind of reminds me of, Hellboy's Rosary.
Yeah, it is a little bit like that. These are both one-action abilities. Why don't we have you continue to do that? I don't want to say that from you. It looks like this is going to be the crux of a lot of the class.
All right. You just don't want to, I think Pengy Chan has it right. PJ just doesn't want to mispronounce words.
Oh, you want to come at me? I'll say big words. I'll go right now. Okay. Challenge accepted. Do you want, but for real, Michael Powell, do you want me to take it or do you want to keep going?
You know what? I'll keep going and then you take, how about I keep going and then you take Esoteric Antithesis. Wow, sure. I pronounced that right.
You got it.
Yeah. Anyway, Find Flaws. It's one action, frequency once per round. You determine a creature's weaknesses, whether a literal weakness or a metaphysical one. Recall knowledge about a creature, using your charisma modifier instead of the usual ability modifier or the skill you're using to recall knowledge. The creature must be either one you can see or one you're specifically investigating in advance during exploration. The result depends on your recall knowledge check, which has the following additional effects as well as the usual effects of recall knowledge. Critical success. You learn all the creature's resistances, weaknesses, and immunities. If you would have learned any of them already from recall knowledge, you'll learn different information instead. You could then use Esoteric Antithesis without spending an additional action. Success. You learn the creature's highest weaknesses, if any. If you would have learned it already from recall knowledge, you learn different information instead. You could then use Esoteric Antithesis without spending an additional action. Failure. You couldn't quite figure it out, so you decide to invoke a wide range of superstitions and narrow it down from there. You could use Esoteric Antithesis as your next action. And then, critical failure. You came up with the wrong information and nearly made a critical mistake. Distancing yourself, you become flat-footed until the beginning of your next turn, and you can't use Esoteric Antithesis this round. So, okay, right off the bat, I kind of want to say, this reminds me a little bit about of the investigator's study suspect ability, a little bit.
Yeah, it does sound like that. What I like about it is that it is, I think, charisma based instead of int based, and it kind of gives you a reason to choose charisma despite having knowledge of every type of magical source.
Yeah. No, definitely. Because I was like, wait, is it? Yeah, you're right. It is charisma modifier instead of
int based.
Usual,
yeah. And what's cool about this is that they build in the mechanic to have Find Flaw and Esoteric Antithesis work together. Mm-hmm. So it really encourages you to use both at once, to heavily rely upon it. And it's also a pretty good system for GMs to be like, okay, if they get critical success, I'm going to do this. Like you could take this basic system and as a GM apply it to any recall knowledge check.
Yeah.
I feel like they just wouldn't get, of course, the use of Esoteric Antithesis. Speaking of which, let's see what Esoteric Antithesis is. If you get a failure and have to spend an action to do this ability, it's only one action cost. The requirement is you can only take this action when Find Flaws allows you to. You cannot choose to skip Find Flaws to do Esoteric Antithesis. So you search through your Esoterica to find the right trinket that will apply a weakness to your attacks against the creature you found flaws in. You interact to apply specific Esoterica to yourself and your weapons. You can perform this interact action with the hand holding your implement. Your unarmed and weapon strikes against a creature become magical, if they weren't already, and you cause them to apply one of the creature's weaknesses even if they don't deal the correct type of damage. If the creature has a weakness with a value of 2 plus half your level or higher, set the type of weakness to the creature's highest weakness. Otherwise, you create a custom weakness with a value of 2 plus half your level. This weakness applies only to your strikes. For example, against a tyrant, you might attach a chain broken to free a captive. This effect lasts until you use Find Flaws again. So it looks like if the creature has a weakness with a value of 2 plus half your level or higher, set the type of weakness to the creature's highest weakness.
Yeah, and earlier when I said Find Flaws reminds me of the investigator's study suspect. It's actually, the ability is actually called Devise a Stratagem. So I just want to correct myself on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're all about positive correction. If we can do better together, then that's what it is. Peg your chances. I'm coming at you. Come at me. What's up?
But yeah, the whole Find Flaws and Esoteric Antithesis, it's reminds me so much of Devise Stratagem and pursue the lead or on the case from investigator ability, you know.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Inquisitor from Pathfinder 1. Not entirely in the judgment system that the Inquisitors had, which is really kind of cool, but in the spirit of it, like I have this thing, almost like how the Inquisitor had like Bane all, and they could just choose that target and be like, "You're my Bane, I'm gonna kick your ass." It feels like that, but it really plays off the weakness system of Pathfinder 2e. And it sounds like no matter how many weaknesses they have, the damage that you do will always be 2 plus half your level or higher set to the weaknesses that that creature has.
Yeah.
And if they have none, you basically get to have a flat 2 plus half your level. You're just doing more. It's kind of a really awesome damage buff if you think about it.
And especially that you have, what we're going to go into next, the implement, which is, from what has been described thus far, reminds me of basically the cleric's holy symbol. Yeah,
and I think that would kind of make sense with a lot of the trinkets, the Esoterica, because all those are needed to do these abilities. You have to have like the role play of the one little item.
Yeah, like I said, Hellboy's Rosary that used to belong to his adopted father, Professor Bloom. I think I might be wrong with the character's name, but I'm gonna go with that right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, should I jump into that one?
Yeah, sure.
All right, implement. As a thaumaturgist, you have a special tool of symbolic importance that you use to focus your thaumaturgy. Your implement. Choose an implement. Choose an implement from the options presented on page 20. So later on, we begin play with a mundane item of that type, and you gain the initiative benefit for that implement. An implement is useful for a thaumaturgist, but typically can't be sold. As you continue, you will collect up to 3 implements and unlock additional benefits for one or more of your implements, allowing you to mix and match their benefits to suit your situation.
Yeah, and we're going to go into implements a little bit because it is farther in, and I think they do different things. But I kind of like how you are this walking assortment of these items and how each item kind of gives you. It's almost like if someone were to take the Inquisitor, because like I am seeing some stuff about like martial prowess. and Artificer. And continuing further with the implement empowerment, the power of your implement can be also turned to a rather more common task of combat as its power flows into your weapon or fist. So I always love playing Monk Magus, maybe Monk Thaumaturgist is down the road for me. When you strike, you can trace mystic patterns with an implement you're holding or a free hand to empower the strike. When you trace the patterns in this way, your strike deals an additional 2 damage.
Ooh.
You can't make the strike with the implement you're using to trace the pattern. For instance, if you're striking with a weapon implement, you need to use a free hand or a different implement you're holding to trace the pattern. So even if your weapon is your implement, it cannot be used for this empowerment. And plus dual wielding in most games now kind of suck, so it's not really worth it. This increases to 4 damage at 3rd level, 6 damage at 11th level, and 8 damage at 19th level. Keep in mind, this is additive. This is added to whatever stat you're using for damage, so probably strength, bonus for the weapon, especially if it's a magical weapon. And looking forward, I can tell you there's definitely going to be weapon specialization bonus damage.
Yeah, it reminds like when it said that you trace mystic symbols and stuff. I'm just getting like in my mind's eye, it's like Doctor Strange drawing the the circle and all that stuff.
And here's the thing: looking over the wording of this, and this may get nerfed later. Implements empowerment doesn't say that it takes an extra action. It just says when you strike, you add this choice to do more damage, so long as you meet the prereqs. So if you're using a one-handed weapon, you're doing a bonus at the end at end game, bonus 8 damage on top of everything else, just because you got a one-hander.
Well, most definitely. Well, anyway, I feel like I said, implement's going to be playing I feel it's going to play a big part in this class, and we are going to learn more about it a little bit later. But in the meanwhile, let's check out the other abilities of the Thaumaturgist.
Yeah, let's do it.
I keep saying Thaumaturgist, but it's Thaumaturge.
I think it's... Oh, you're right. Well, yeah. I mean, Thaumaturge is the class. I guess if you are a... that's a good question. If you are a Thaumaturge, does that make you a Thaumaturgist?
Yeah.
Because, like, practicing it is definitely Thaumaturgy.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Thaumaturge means miracle worker, actually. I looked it up earlier.
Yeah. I actually learned that from playing Final Fantasy XIV, and, like, before you become a black mage, they call you a Thaumaturgist, and then you become a black mage after that. And it's weird because, like, that means they believe a miracle worker is someone who dives into the void and pulls out dark magic to shoot fire and ice and lightning. Yeah.
Anyway, let's jump in. Do you want to go through the
mechanics
the mechanics, the abilities?
Yeah, let's do that. So, feats, thank God. At first level and every even number leveled after that, you get class feats. You get skill feats at 2nd level and for every 2 levels thereafter, so you're getting some pretty solid skill growth. General feats, 3rd level, every 4th after that, pretty solid. Great fortitude. At 3rd level, you become an expert in fortitude saves. You also get a skill increase at 3rd level, and for 2 levels thereafter, you get the skill increase, you get all that stuff. It's pretty common. Ability boost at 5, ancestry feats at 5. 2nd implement. You've developed a greater connection to another item or found a new item with potential. You choose a 2nd implement, which must be a different implement than your first. Consider an implement that complements your first one, either by building on a similar theme or by contrasting it in a way that reveals an intriguing dichotomy, such as by choosing a protective amulet for your first implement was an offensive weapon. So I like that. So you don't get like a ton of them. You get small amounts, but this does kind of build your character out more.
Oh, I have comments about this later on, but I'm going to save those for later on.
Okay. Thaumaturge, you did that. You become a weapon expert at level 5, so you get experts with martial weapons. Implement adept at level 7. You gain a deeper connection to one of your implements, unlocking its adept power. Choose one of your implements and gain the adept benefit for that implement. Most thaumaturges choose their first implement. While you're holding an implement in one hand, you can quickly switch it with another implement you're wearing to use an action for the implement you're switching to. That was a little clunky. To do so, you can interact as a free action immediately before executing the action. This allows you to meet requirements of having an implement in your hand to use as its action. For example, if you had your lantern implement in one hand and a weapon in the other, you could swap your lantern for your amulet to use its reaction. So that basically gives you it's the F you pay me scale of, wait, do I have enough actions to do this? Yes, I do. I'm level 7. Doesn't matter.
Or if you're like PJ, you get an extra bonus action if that lantern is green.
I mean, that's not canon, but yes, 1,000%. Resolve. At level 7, you become a master of will saves. So your reflex kind of sucks. Fortitude's pretty good. It's very clearly you are meant to be a will save tank. And whenever you roll a success, it's counted as a critical instead. Weapon specialization at level 7 as well. So you're already getting like a fighter level or a fighter growth. Which at this point would make it an additional 2. So if you use your powered implements, whatever other damage you're dealing with the weaknesses, you get to add another like 4 or no, you get to add another 6 damage. 8? 6. Yeah. 8? It's a lot. Finally, at 9th level, you get the reflex save going to expert. You also become an expertise in your class DC. You can gain additional skill increase as well with this DC increase, which can be applied to only arcane, nature, occultism, or religion. So those big cool. 4 that, it's kind of cool, right? Yeah. They really want you to focus on that knowledge.
Yeah.
Become a medium armor expert at 11th. You get master of perception at 11th. You get, let's see, your will at 13. At level 13, your will saves become legendary. When you roll a success on a will save, you get a critical success instead. When you roll a critical failure, you get a failure instead. You cannot crit fail a will save with this class.
Ooh, that's good. High level games, that's really good, actually.
It is. And when you roll a failure on a will save against a damaging effect, you still take half damage. Yeah. I love that you get evasion of the mind. That is so dope.
I kind of want to say, at least for my flavor-wise, I just see the Thaumaturgist, whatever. He just, there's just like, you know that scene where they just grit their teeth when someone's trying to, invade their mind, just like, no! Just makes them look all constipated or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really excited because I love martial classes. And the more I'm reading about the Thaumaturgist, I originally thought they were a caster. I was wrong. I thought then that they were some weird, I don't know, like support class. And they kind of are. But what I'm really seeing, this is a melee class. They get weapon mastery at level 13, which makes them masters in their martial class. Next time at 15, they get the greater weapon specialization, which means they're getting +6 damage on all strikes. You get the +6 plus the, let's just say you're like a level 20 strength, right? So you get the +6 plus the 5, plus at this point, you're getting a 6 bonus damage from empowering your one-handed weapon. You're getting a 17, technically an 18 guaranteed minimum damage on every strike you do.
Yeah.
And that's not counting the weakness, which is 2 plus half level, no matter what. So that means, let's see, you're 15 at this point. That would be another 9. You'd be doing a minimum of like, hold on, I just had it, 25, a minimum of 25, 30 damage each strike. And that's not even counting the dice. At 15th level, also, besides becoming an awesome fighter, you get a 3rd implement. Again, just like the 2 before us, you get a 3rd thing to customize your Thaumaturge. At 17, you get Implement Mastery. Choose one of your implements and gain the next benefit for that implement. Either the Paragon benefit, if you choose the implement you're already at 7th level, or another adept benefit to another implement. Most thaumaturgies choose their first implement to get that Paragon. You also get Thaumaturgic Mastery, which again increases your class DC to master. Also gives you another skill increase to either arcane nature, occultism, or religion. So if you consider all the times you get skill increases, what was it, like at level 3 and probably 2 levels thereafter, and all the times you get it for free because of your class, you have a very strong potential to have a bunch of masteries and possibly more than 2 legendaries.
Yeah, especially to your arcane nature, occultism, or religion, basically for the fact that those are super useful, especially in magic heavy games.
Yeah. And the hits keep on coming. We're now at the 2 capstone feats for our traits for the Thaumaturgist. They become a medium armor master at level 19, so they have a pretty good armor class for what they're doing. They're not going to out armor the champion, but that's kind of their shtick. And then they get something called Unlimited Esoterica. Your connection to your Esoterica becomes so complete that you can access your mystic tools without even thinking. You can use Find Flaws as a free action, though still with a frequency of once per round. Considering that Find Flaws is absolutely necessary, A, for the class, and 2, to activate that 2 plus half level bonus damage no matter what, you're always buffed. You're always buffed.
Yeah. It reminds me of the investigator's ability where you basically, if you I think do something first, you automatically get to do the next action for free. I think it's devise a stratagem. You can do strategic strike for free or something, or vice versa.
It's not for sure. I think the one you're talking about, because I know you've used it in the show a lot, is you pre-roll based off your intelligence modifier, and then you roll normally to see if it would hit anyway. And if it would miss, you get to automatically substitute for the int-based roll.
If it's part of my investigation, then I get that free roll.
Yeah. Hello, Bobby Western. Great to see you again. Good evening to you. So that was just the traits. And already out of the traits, we've seen that this class has a very interesting melee component. In fact, if they add some, like, I don't know, some other little buffs and debuffs things here and there, this might actually replace the Inquisitor. It sounds a lot like what the Inquisitor was trying to do, but in a different way.
Well, we're about to go into implements, and I think it might be something there. But I want to also say, what this actually reminds me of, you were saying that this is very much like, the Inquisitor or a martial class and all that stuff. To me, this seems like a mix of a alchemist and not alchemist, a investigator and rogue that's focused on martial abilities.
Kind of. Now, it's funny you mention that, because when you go back to the key terms, the word temporary items, and this we'll probably hit this pretty soon here, comes up, and it does kind of function like an alchemist. They even say that they allow you to prepare temporary items. Much like the infused items created by alchemists, these temporary items only last a short amount of time before becoming useless. So I think what they kind of do is, now I don't know yet, we haven't confirmed, but I have a feeling this means that they create talismans in combat that function similarly to the alchemists' infusions and elixirs.
Well, let's check that out. Let's jump into the implements. Should I kick us off?
Of course.
All right. Implements. Well, for this playtest, we're focusing on 5 implements, but the final class will have a total of 9. Thrice 3. Wait, thrice? I feel like that's a typo there.
Where do you see this at?
It's in the implements. It's right under Unlimited Esoterica.
Oh, for the playtest, we're focusing on 5 implements, but the final class, that's actually kind of cool, we'll have a total of 9.
Thrice 3. I think the thrice 3 part is the one part that's throwing me off.
Oh, no. You're so what they're doing is they're being fancy, but they're basically doing like 3 times 3 is 9.
Oh,
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the first of these implements is Amulet. Amulet implements are items worn or carried for good luck and protection. Once again, much like Hellboy's rosary beads. Your amulet might be a magical diagram, a religious symbol, a preserved part of such as a rabbit's foot or a Rufa. Lucky coin. Choosing an amulet implement as your first implement means you're focused on the idea of protecting yourself and others from the supernatural. Other thaumaturgists might assume that you're cautious and methodical. Amulet implements are associated with the Harrow suit of cards and the astrological sign of the Bridge and the Ogre. Okay, I think we might have to end up reading that key term thing you have there on the side, but we'll do this after.
Mm-hmm.
The initiative benefits of the amulet is the protective aspects of your amulet can shield you and your allies from harm. You gain the amulet's, I'm not even going to try that.
I'm gonna abeyance.
Abeyance reaction. Alright. Really using those SAT terms there, Paizo. Amulet's abeyance. Ambience?
It is abeyance.
Abeyance. All right.
Abeyance, yeah. I think the Y is soft, so it's abeyance.
Okay, abeyance. Trigger. The subject of your esoteric antithesis would damage you or an ally within 15 feet of you. Requirements. You're holding the amulet implement and are benefiting from esoteric antithesis. You forcefully present your amulet to turn away harm. You or a target ally within 15 feet gain resistance to all damage against the triggering damage. Okay. The resistance is equal to 2 plus your level. And let's see. Adept benefit. Your amulet offers continued protection. When you use Amulet's abeyance, the target chooses one type of damage resisted with target's abeyance and gains resistance 5 against that damage type until the start of your next turn. If you have a third implement, this lingering resistance increases from 5 to 10. And then the Paragon benefit is your amulet provides sanctuary even against wide-ranging or all-encompassing attacks. When you use Amulet's abeyance, you and all allies within 15 feet gain the initial resistance against a triggering attack and the lingering resistance from your amulet's adept benefit. Even allies that weren't subject to the damage that triggered the reaction gets the lingering resistance. If the foe's attack deals multiple damage types, your allies can choose the damage type for their lingering resistance separately.
I love this. This is basically, This is basically the neutral good champion's reaction, which is the best defensive reaction in the game. The fact that you, as a non-tanking class, can give you or anyone else up to 22 resistance at endgame. And then the target chooses one type of damage and gains resistance 5 against the damage type, and then just more consistent resistance. That's really good.
It's like a consistent cleric buff.
Yeah, it kind of is. And I like that the defensive thing doesn't suck. It can be a benefit to the whole party. And what's really exciting is that, as we see here in the Adept benefit, whenever you get another Esoterica, another implement, it still buffs the original. So it's not like you're losing something because you're not focusing. You still get an extra benefit from the variety of tools you have.
Yeah. Do you want to read the cards in astrology, because I think it has something to do with these implements?
Not entirely. Basically, what it comes down to is they explain what a Harrow deck is. If you know Pathfinder, you know what the Harrow is. If you don't, it's basically a tarot deck. The Cosmic Caravan is essentially the Zodiac, and the Dragon Empire Zodiac is exactly the Chinese Zodiac.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
No, I super like it, but I think this is more of a fluff twist. I don't think it actually is going to impact the implements yet. Anyway.
All right.
Pardon me. Now I'm really curious what the Chalice does. Chalice implements are vessels that fill with liquid, associating them with healing, nourishment, and life. Oh boy.
Very clericy.
Very clericy. Your chalice may be a traditional cup or goblet, but also could be a small amphora, a polished gourd, or even a hollowed out skull.
Huh.
Metal. Choosing a chalice implement as your first implement means you are concerned with your health and the health of others. Other thaumaturges might assume that you're nurturing and considerate. I like the word assume. Chalice implements, or just a drunk, or you're like, I'll heal you if you quit being a dick. Online healers. Chalice implements are associated with the astrological signs of the mother and the newlyweds, as well as the sea dragon. The innate benefit. While holding your chalice, you can drink from it or feed its liquid to an ally to improve their health. You gain the drink from the chalice action. One action, once per round. You are holding your chalice implement. You drink from the liquid that slowly collects in your chalice or administer to an adjacent ally. The drinker chooses whether to take a small sip or to drain the contents. If they sip, a sip grants the drinker an amount of temporary hit points equal to 2 plus half your level that lasts until the end of your next turn, once per round. So you can keep sipping. Drinking deep instead heals the drinker 3 hit points for each level you have. Endgame, that's 60 points.
Wow.
After the chalice is drained, it's left with only its slowly collecting dregs. The chalice can't be drained again, though it can be sipped from. If 10 minutes pass without anyone drinking from the chalice, it refills itself and can be drained again. It has a refocusing trait that is automatic, and you don't have to do that at all.
And also, free refills.
It's an ever-filled mug that actually does something besides get you drunk.
Okay, I got 2 things to say about this. First, I'm just imagining the super big gulp mug from 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And second, actually I have 3 actually. But second is what's that Greek god of revelry that Bacchus, I think.
Dionysus. I think
Dionysus?
Bacchus is another one.
But yeah, this is what it's reminding me of. The whole Dionysus drinking chalice, ever filling cup, and also third is earlier when I said that the amulet is very reminiscent of a cleric buff, I'm gonna take that back. The amulet is actually more like a paladin buff, and the chalice is like the cleric's healing.
Yeah, like I said, the amulet is almost exactly the neutral good champion's defensive reaction, and the drink from the chalice is a really good healing ability. Going into the chat, just for the lulls, we are talking Dionysus, Pan, Bacchus. There's a lot of Greek gods of the party, if you will. But Lost Thought, new spell, Summon Simp. Thanks, I hate it. I have to write it. I have to make that spell, but I hate it.
We can summon Sims to pay for our coffee account.
Dude, look, I'll sell photos. I don't know what Sims one of a dude, but I'll do it. Anyway, so that's TMI. But moving right on, Imp Turn. That's what I wanted to play in the original Hell's Boardroom. I wanted it to be an Imp Turn. But don't get me wrong, I'm very excited to play Brachial. That being said, moving on from the Chalice. The Adept benefit of the Chalice. The life essence shed from your own blood empowers your Chalice. If you take piercing or slashing damage from a foe's critical hit, or take persistent bleed damage, on your next turn, drinking from the Chalice grants a greater effect. On a sip, the temporary hit points increases to Charisma modifier plus level. On draining it, the healing increases to 4 hit points for each level you have, which endgame makes it an 80 HP heal automatically.
I just realized something, PJ.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing a monk with the stumbling style, like basically drunken boxing, and then take this, if you could take this as a archetype and drink from the Chalice.
I love that. I really love the Chalice mechanic. I've seen so many games try to create this. Like, I've done it a few times as a homebrew, but I love this because it's small enough that it complements your character and doesn't basically overwhelm it. Like, it doesn't overshadow what your character is doing. Last one, Paragon benefit of the Chalice. When you or an ally drain the Chalice, in addition to healing wounds, the Chalice clears away many negative conditions. Very different. Reduce the drinker's clumsy, enfeebled, frightened, stupefied, and stunned conditions by 1. This reduces the stunned condition only if it has a condition value, not when it has a duration. That's very important because stun is kind of weird that way. Sometimes you get stunned 1 or stunned 3, and sometimes it's just stunned for this amount of time. Finally, the chalice attempts to counteract all poisons, all diseases, and curses afflicting the drinker, using half your level rounded up as the counteract level and your class DC -10 as the counteract modifier. If the chalice fails to counteract a given affliction for a drinker, it can't attempt to do it again until midnight.
Yeah, this is very cleric-y.
Very cleric-y, yeah. I'm really curious because the lantern's next, and I'm sad because I'm excited about the lantern.
Mm-hmm. You know what? If you want, I'll let you continue, and I'll take wand.
Yeah, thank you. I was like, could I please do the lantern?
Yeah, I'll take the next two. I'll take the next two. You take the lantern.
All right. Lost Thought just says, you don't just become a potion with legs. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
This is your birthday present.
My birthday came early. Oh, my ring's in the box. Anyway, lanterns, implements shine the light of revelation to part shadows and expose truth. You might use a common glass lantern, a torch, a paper lantern, or other similar light sources. You may also use a green one made from the deepest power of space and dying stars. It doesn't say that. That's me. Mm-hmm. Choosing a lantern implements as your first implement means that you're especially interested in peeling away the secrets and illusions that surround the paranormal and shining light on the truth beneath. Other thaumaturges might assume that you are inquisitive and clear-sighted, though potentially too curious for your own good. Lantern implements are associated with the harrow suit of stars and the astrological sign of the lantern bearer and the archer. I mean, it's associated. You can do whatever you want with that. Innate benefit. While you hold your lantern, the light shines, revealing secrets to you. The lantern shines bright light out to 20 feet and dim light 20 feet further. This has the evocation, light, and magical traits. Evocation, you say? You and your allies within 20 feet and in the area of the bright light get a +1 status bonus to visual perception checks to notice anything that is also within 20 feet and in the area of bright light, and a +1 status bonus to checks to recall knowledge against creatures in the dimly lit area, 20 feet out. As the light exposes their true natures, even if you aren't searching during exploration, the GM rolls a secret check for you to find traps, environmental hazards, haunts, and secrets such as doors. The first time the hazard or secret comes within 20 feet of you and within the lantern's bright light. The benefits of the lantern's light are magical divination effects.
So essentially, you're either Nancy Drew or the Hardy Boys' flashlight.
I could see that. You're definitely like remember how the psychic had like this is the attacker based on this cantrip. This is like the one who's got detect magic wants to know everything.
Yeah.
This is the I want to know everything implement. The adept benefit. In addition to the initiate benefits, when you hold your lantern, its light reveals the invisible and the ethereal. Ooh. While you're holding your lantern, invisible and ethereal creatures within 20 feet of you become visible, though they are still concealed. This doesn't give you any special ability to affect a creature on the ethereal plane, but it ensures you're aware of its presence.
This is actually really good low level.
Low level, yeah, but if I recall, this benefit doesn't come around until double digits.
Is it? The adept?
The adept, because you have the initiate,
right,
the adept, and the paragon, yeah. Right. So it's like, I feel like detect magic as a cantrip would do the job just as well, or maybe even detect undead or detect evil, like...
Unless you're part of a party that has no spellcasters.
True, and the fact that you are not a spellcaster and this is happening constantly, that's kind of a cool effect. Yeah. The Paragon effect of the lantern. In addition to the other benefits, your lantern reveals all things as they truly are. While you're holding your lantern, the GM rolls a secret counteract check against any illusion or transmutation that comes within 20 feet and into the area of bright light, but only for the purposes of determining whether you and the others can see through it. For instance, if the check succeeds against a polymorph spell, you can see the creature's true form, but you don't end the spell. Use half your level rounded up as the counteract level, and your class DC is -10 as the counteract modifier. On a failed counteract check, the lantern can't attempt to counteract that illusion or polymorph effect again until midnight. This reminds me of a video game. I forgot which one, but you have that flashlight basically, and you see something in the darkness, and if you put your flashlight on it, it gets rid of the illusions. Like it shows you where the doors really are. It shows you like what's really hiding in the darkness, and if there's an illusion, you can put it over and see what it really is behind the illusion.
Okay.
What is that game I'm thinking of?
I'm blanking on it, but the lantern implement here, I'm sensing like how Amulet is very much like a paladin. The Chalice is very much like a cleric. The lantern for me is very much like an investigator or a rogue.
I don't see the rogue so much. I definitely see more of like a wizard specializing in divination. This is definitely a divination based item.
I want to say
because it's not really mundane. It definitely does get rid of illusions. It shows you where secret things are hidden, magically speaking.
Then I
feel like stuff like that.
Then I want to say investigator at least, because investigators pretty much they have feats and abilities that allows you to pertain to essentially true seeing.
I can kind of, if you want to compare this to a non-magical class, I can see where the investigator would be a good comparison.
Yeah. Because sorry, go ahead.
I don't know, it's all right. I was going to say it definitely feels more like a divination wizard, but that is only one facet of a wizard, so it's not enough really.
Well, because I was going to say for the wizard, I'm already going to predict the next one that next implement we're going to talk about is very wizardry.
It is the wand after all.
A very wizardry of something place. But anyway, wand. Wand implements are short, lightweight batons, usually made of wood, but often incorporating other materials. Due to their association with spellcasters, wand implements are connected symbolically to magic and its practice. Choosing a wand implement as your first implement means you're particularly fascinated in magic in all its forms. Other thaumaturgists might assume that you're prone to mysticism and magical thinking that might be a hindrance in a practical situation, but an asset when dealing with the supernatural. Wand implements are associated with the astrological signs of thrush and the sky dragon.
Yeah, I want to say a thrush is a type of bird.
Yeah, and also, yo, wizard, PJ.
Oh, yay!
Anyway, initiate benefit. Your wand slowly connects magic from its surroundings, and when you hold it, you can project this magic at a foe in a barely controlled display of charged magic. So pretty much, it's like when you're playing like Legend of Zelda or something, you're holding down the hit button to perform the sweep attack. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, when you gain this implement, choose whether your wand is aligned with cold, electricity, or fire. You gain the fling magic activity. Yeah, it's a charge. This is a charge attack. Fling magic. 2 actions. Requirements. You are holding your wand implement. You fire a display of energy around a target within 80 feet. Dealing damage equal to 1d4 plus your charisma modifier to the target, with a basic reflex save against your class DC. The damage is of the type you selected when you gain your wand implement. At 3rd level and every 2 levels thereafter, the damage increases by 1d4. Special. This activity has the trait corresponding to the damage type you selected.
Wait a minute. This gives you a cantrip.
Yeah.
Fling magic is a cantrip.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
That also levels up with you.
I mean, it's based off your class DC. It's not technically a spell DC, but form and function. This is a cantrip. Yeah, form and function, it's basically produce flame.
Well, produce flame, yeah.
Yeah, because it's one target, basic reflex save. The damage, the type you selected when you gain the wand. Yeah, it's basically produce flame or cone, like ray of frost.
Yeah.
Cool.
Adept benefit. You gain versatility and additional benefits when you fire your wand. The range of fling magic increases to 120 feet. Ooh, you become a sniper with that. Choose a second damage type from the list. Whenever you fling magic, you can select between either of the 2 damage types you have chosen. Fling magic has an additional effect if the target fails to save and takes damage, depending on the type. Fire. The target catches on fire, taking 1d10 persistent fire damage, or 2d10 on a critical failure. Cold. The target becomes chilled, taking a minus 10 foot status penalty to its checks. Electricity. The target is shocked, becoming flat-footed till the start of your next turn. So yeah, it's that cantrip.
Yeah, it's basically you got the big three cantrips: Ray of Frost, Produce Flame, and Electric Arc. The difference though is that you actually get an added benefit to make it kind of more chunky.
Yeah. But anyway, Paragon benefit. Your Mastery of the Wand grants you increased versatility, range, and area. The range of flame magic increases to 180 feet. You gain the ability to choose between all three types of damage: cold, electricity, and fire, each time you use flame magic. When you flame magic, you can choose to target a single creature or affect all creatures in a 10-foot burst.
I like this. Now, Paragon benefit is definitely going to be happening later in the game. This is going to be, I want to say, 13 up. I forgot. We already covered it. My brain already forgot it. But what I like is that you now basically get a cantrip that you can have massive versatility on, the one spell that does it all. And you can either make it a 10-foot burst AoE or a one-target person. The damage is still the same.
Yeah.
So in theory, why not just have the fireball AoE that has everyone in the 10-foot burst potentially do up to 2d10% persistent fire damage?
True. And also, well, this is pretty much it's a mid to close range class, so they would have no problem wading into the melee. But also choosing Wand Implement gives you the option of creating a ranged character.
Yeah. Now, it should be stated that even though the benefits are kind of nice, straightforward, streamlined, this is never going to outpace any caster in the game. It's a 1d4 cantrip that at most is going to be doing 10d4 endgame. And that's fine, because that's most cantrips, but you're not going to be actually exposed to casting slotted level magic and doing anything else. And yeah, that could double to 20d4 on a critical fail. So my recommendation is this is super freaking cool. Do not rely upon this.
Yeah, if anything, this allows you, if you're kind of like in the thick of melee, it allows you to use all your action without feeling like you have one hang left over. Like first action, regular melee attack, do your regular melee attack, and second action, use your if you got your adept, use that that area effect.
Yeah. Now, I will say, with the weakness game that you get to play, this does let you kind of Pokemon a little bit. With the fire, water, grass. This lets you get that. And having that weakness bonus damage on top of spells is always so delicious. But also what's great is that if you know they have a weakness to like 2 or 3 different things, you don't even have to use Esoterica to activate that weakness. And if they don't have any weaknesses at all, you still get the reliable 2 plus half level to just bomb more damage on them.
And also, I kind of want to say that 10-foot burst allows you to basically be kind of Hodor and take on a mob.
I mean, consider the electricity benefit for the adept, where the target is shocked, becoming flat-footed until the start of your next turn. That's a 10-foot flat-footed group of people. Your rogue, that's like your rogue's birthday. Just like, oh, thank you, thank you so much.
Or if you're like in the thick of things, your group needs a GTFO. First action, that 10-foot burst of cold, and then everybody runs away.
Yep, the negative 10-foot penalty is really going to add up when you're burning all 3 actions to get out of there. Now, the last implement, I believe, in the playtest, and they said they want to have more, so keep in mind, there are some that we haven't even seen yet, is the weapon implement.
Exactly, and I'm going to take this one as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey, you got your gift.
I guess I did. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, weapon implements are the most direct and confrontational, representing battle, struggle, and potentially violence. Oh, I love me a little bit of that old ultra-violence. The weapon should speak to your style of conflict. If you're skilled in subtle takedowns, for instance, you might choose a dagger or other agile weapon. Whereas a sword is traditional for overt struggles, you might use a hand crossbow if you're more indirect. Most thaumaturgists choose a one-handed weapon to leave a hand free with the benefit from from implements empowerment. Whichever weapon you select, choosing a weapon implement as your first implement, that's a lot of implements, means you are willing or even eager to fight for your beliefs or ideals. Other thaumaturgists might assume that you're hot-headed or aggressive or dangerous. Weapon implements are associated with the Haro suit of hammers and the astrological sign of the rider and the swordswoman. The fact that it says you can use a hand crossbow tells me if you pick up the right, I guess, the extra feet for it, you can use a handgun if you want. You can have a magic gun.
I really love the badass idea of having a thaumaturgist with a revolver.
Yeah. Or if you want to go that straight up fantasy vibe, you can still use a bow and arrow set.
Yeah, or you can just use a heavy crossbow, so it's like,
yeah. Oh, take this class, and also archetype in a ranger, and then pick up gravity weapon.
Yeah. Oh, gravity weapon plus all the empowerment feats and everything else we can talk about. Oh, excuse you. I'm going to kill you and the guy behind you.
Yeah. You're basically, you basically got a rail gun on your hands right there. But anyway, an initiate benefit. Your weapon trembles slightly in your hand, seeking out your foe's weakness to it and interrupting their actions. You gain the implement's interruption reaction. At 5th level, you gain the Thaumaturgic Weapon Expertise. Your instinctive knowledge of your weapon implement also grants you the weapon's critical specialization effect. That's pretty cool. Implements Interruption. Trigger. The subject of your Esoteric Antithesis uses a concentrate, manipulate, or move action, or leaves a square during a move action it's using. Reaction. You're holding your weapon implement and are benefiting from the Esoteric Antithesis against a creature. And that creature is either within your reach or for a melee weapon, or within 10 feet for a ranged weapon. Okay, so that's short range. Charged with the power in...
Inimical. I have no idea what that word even means.
Yeah. To your foe, your weapon lashes out to attack it. Make a strike against a triggering creature with your weapon implement. If your attack is a critical hit, you disrupt that action. This strike doesn't count towards your multiple attack penalty, and your multiple attack penalty doesn't apply to the strike. Oh, that's good.
That's very good. Hold on. I'm trying to make a strike against a triggering creature. The weapon implement. Oh, it's a reaction.
Yeah.
And if you crit on the reaction, the strike doesn't count towards your multiple attack penalty. Okay, so basically you get a free strike that doesn't add to your map when your turn pops up.
Yeah. That's good. That's so good. That's really good.
Yes, that's pretty good. I feel like a bad GM. I didn't know that reactions counted towards maps. But they do, so holy crap.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, adept benefit. When your implement lashes out at your foe, even a close miss brings the Esoterica you're attached to it close enough to harm them. When you use implement's interruption and fail, but don't critically fail, the strike you deal 1 damage of the weapon's normal type, which triggers the target's weaknesses as normal. So, kind of like a glancing blow.
Yeah, and that's good. So, like, even if you miss the reaction, you still do damage. It's not a lot, but it's something.
You get a participation trophy.
You do. You get an attaboy.
Yeah. Paragon benefit. The way your implement incorporates your foe's weaknesses makes its interruptions incredibly disruptive. You now disrupt the triggering action on a hit with implement's interruption rather than needing a critical hit.
Okay, cool. So you don't even have to crit anymore. It's just if it hits, you get the benefit.
Yeah, if it hits, it's kind of like if it sits, it fits. If it hits, it crits.
That's true. Funny, quick detraction. I used to play this Marvel game on Facebook where it was like a turn-based RPG, and you had different just a buttload of Marvel characters, and they had like a different breakdown on what skills they could use in the RPG. And War Machine had a beam sword from like Halo, straight up from Halo. And our saying was if it hits, it crits because its hit rate was 100%, its crit rate was 100%. So all it would do would just be critical damage, bypass defense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been saying that since college. If it hits, it crits.
Mm-hmm.
As a little memory tag there.
But I gotta say, I'm loving this class right now. I am really loving this class.
I really enjoy what this thing can do because again, I'm shocked as hell to find that this is a melee class with a lot of flexible perks. Like it's melee first or it's fighter first and everything else is just funsies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. So now we're going into the feats. Unless you have anything else you want to say, PJ.
I don't know. I says I like the weapon benefit. I don't think it would be, even though like I really want to be a melee thaumaturgist, I don't believe it would be my strongest investment of implementation.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would probably honestly go Amulet and see if I could steal like a few multi-class feats from the champion and just be this kind of off tank that could smite for way more damage.
Yeah, but also there's supposed to be, let's see, there's 5, so there's 4 more. There's 4 more implements that's going to be introduced, and should I say this? You know what? I'm going to say this because it was posted on Twitter, so that's public space. All right. I've been going back and forth with I've been I don't want to say stalking, but I've been following some of the Paizo game designers on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the questions I did kind of ask was, so is Fulu's going to be eventually one of the implements of a Thaumaturgist? Mm-hmm. And they put up a picture of that one character from Cardcaptor Sakura that uses the Fulus and stuff like that. So I'm going to take that as a good sign.
Maybe. And they did say that they build temporary items, much like alchemists. And I don't think we've seen that yet. We might be seeing this now in the feats section of the class.
Yeah. So
see what the feats, the class feats has to show us.
Jump into it, and should you do you want to take the first one?
Yeah. Binding Oath. 1 action, once per day, resetting on sunset. You bind yourself by speaking an oath. Supernatural powers flow through you and around you as you speak it, and all those present to hear it intrinsically know that it binds you, preventing you from willingly acting against your declared oath or ignoring promises made as part of the oath. Thaumaturges use this ability to earn trust from others and lend weight to their promises, allowing them to more easily offer an oath or promise as part of a bargain. The oath doesn't prevent unwilling violations and can't be used to try and circumvent mind control magic, confusion, or similar situations when you perform an action not entirely of your own volition. Excuse me. You get a +1 circumstance bonus to request or coerce creatures aware of your oath if you invoke it as part of a promise you make, due to the fact that the creatures know you must try to keep that promise. Oh, that's a lot. If you have expert proficiency in Arcana, Nature, Occultism, or Religion, you can swear a binding oath 2 times per day. If you have mass proficiency, you can do it 3 times, Legendary, as many times as you like. So basically, this is a crap ton of fluff that says you get a +1 bonus to either request or coerce creatures who are aware of your oath. Basically, if you tell them, I have sworn an oath to the spirits of this world, give +1, you bastard. Like, that's kind of what this is for.
All right. Next up is Divine Disharmony. I like that name. Mm-hmm. you pull out multiple opposing divine objects, such as the religious symbols of two deities that are hated enemies, and combine them in a display that is not only galling, but also causes discoherent clashes of divine energy that are especially distracting to the faithful. So you're just basically being a troll. You are
Just
being
like
a troll.
heresy everywhere.
Rolling your choice of a deception or intimidation check against the will DC of a creature you can see within 60 feet with the following results. If the creature is particularly devoted to the deity, such as a cleric, celestial, monitor, fiend, or other creature with divine spells, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to your skill check. The GM might determine that a creature that despises all deities, such as a
Golthu.
Golthu, is unaffected. Critical success. The creature is flat-footed to your attacks until the end of your next turn, and a success, the creature is flat-footed against your attacks until the end of your current turn. Like I said, you're basically being a total troll to your foes. And this is what I'm kind of picturing out. You pull out, like, action figures of two deities and start kind of playing with them.
I just love that all this fluff and lore, what it basically does is will DC save against what you're doing. You get a bonus to the check if they are themselves a potentially religious character. And all it does is make them go, hey, no, stop it. And they get flat-footed from going, no, that's not, no, they wouldn't kiss. And then you get to be like, I don't care, stab.
PJ, pull this on Alona.
She'll be mad. She'll be like, but she's already kind of squishy, so I don't want to kill her outright. Next up is esoteric lore. How to give you the full fluff. Your diverse studies into various sources of lore mean you've heard rumors or theories about almost every topic. Though admittedly your sources aren't always the most reliable. You are trained in esoteric lore, a special lore skill that can be used only to recall knowledge, but on any topic. If you have legendary proficiency in arcana, nature, occultism, or religion, you get expert proficiency in esoteric lore. But you can't increase your proficiency in esoteric lore by any other means. This is a weird level 1 feat that is really only useful, even as they describe it, at level 20. So if you really want to be the lore dude, and this is a horrible phrase, I apologize. If you want to be the lore whore, you can, but you get it at level 1, and you don't even get the full benefit until level 20. It's a weird one.
It kind of reminds me of a neutered version of Bardic lore.
Yeah. Pengu-chan is talking in the chat, I think, about what they want to do with Path of the Righteous. Sacred Hunt Master Inquisitor with a Velociraptor as a pet. Pengu-chan, do it. That sounds so badass. I want to see that.
All right. Next up is, hey, PJ.
You
get a mascot as a Thaumaturgist if you want. Yeah, it's a level 1 feat called Familiar. Pretty much, you get a Familiar.
You get a Familiar. I mean, I don't think the Familiar is like a witch's Familiar that comes with magic, but it does have magical abilities that could be helpful.
Yeah, and also, if you go to the Archetype, you can pick up a Familiar Master. That actually boosts it up.
That's true. They can buff it up even more. And then you get some really cool teamwork abilities with you and the Familiar.
Yeah.
Would do Haunt Cunning?
Sure. Haunt Cunning. It's a level 1 feat. One of the most useful pieces of cunning knowledge is the ability to notice emotional echo of a soul that passed on, leaving a haunt in its wake. Even when you aren't searching, while in exploration mode, the GM rolls a secret check for you to notice haunts that usually require you to be searching. You can disable haunts that require Master Proficiency rank in a skill as long as you are at least trained in the skill. If you have the Master Proficiency in the skill, you can disable haunts that require a Proficiency rank of Legendary instead. While holding a Lantern Implement, you also gain a +1 circumstance bonus to perception checks to find haunts, to AC against attacks made by haunts, and to saves against haunts. If you have the Lantern Implements add that benefit, the circumstance bonus is +2. This kind was like I said, I'm making a lot of parallels this class with Investigator because seriously, a lot of their abilities is very Investigator-esque because what is it? This is like one of the methodologies of an investigator. Let me just look this up really quick. I have the thing here right here. Let's see, investigator methodologies. It's very much like imperialism of the investigator methodology, but instead of just you see clues everywhere where you go automatically that the GM has to pretty much give to you. You have to work closely with the GM. This is very, very niche. It's narrowed down to hauntings.
See, well, that's what I'm saying. It's a similar mechanic, but with the haunting thing, I feel like it's more like an oracle or a witch proximity. But you're not wrong. The basic mechanic is the same, and I think we're going to see this echo in other investigation-based classes. Moving on, Root to Life. This is still a first level feat. It's either 1 or 2 actions. Marigold, Spider Lily, Pennyroyal, many primal traditions connect flowers and plants with a boundary between life and death, and you can leverage this connection to keep an ally on this side of the line. You place a small plant or similar symbol to an adjacent dying creature, immediately stabilizing them. The creature is no longer dying, is instead unconscious at 0 hit points. If you spend 2 actions instead of 1, you empower the act further by uttering a quick folk blessing to chase away ongoing pain, adding the auditory trait to the action. Doing so, attempt a flat check to remove each source of persistent damage affecting the target. Due to the particularly effective assistance, the DC is 10 instead of 15. So this is a little clericy as well, but it doesn't quite put them on their feet. This is a stabilization that removes any persistent damage that may put them right back into 0 hit points and kill them, or to negative hit points.
I kind of want to say it's kind of druidic a little bit, and also this actually works very well with a background called Root Worker.
I guess I could see that, yeah, but it definitely has that feeling of like, yeah, you're using a flower, but like it's still a component. Yeah. I mean, clerics still get that too.
Well, I mean, flavor-wise, with Root Worker, meaning for the fact that Root Worker allows you to make these little special kind of talisman-esque one-use bonuses once per day. Because when I played Lami, my character gave, I think, Alona's character one of the little pouches that he made for her. And
I want to say you gave a few talismans out that game to a few of the players.
Yeah, flavor-wise, having this feat with Root Worker works great, I think.
I mean, it definitely could. I think the big difference is that's mechanical. Like, this is mechanical fluff as opposed to building something that... I'm sorry. This is flavor. That was mechanical. Similar but different. But, like, hey, it builds off the narrative point very well. Yes.
But anyway, next up is Scroll Thaumaturgy. Yeah. It's a level 1 feat. Your multidisciplinary study of magic means you know how to activate this magic in scrolls with ease. You can activate scrolls of any magical tradition using your Thaumaturge class DC for the scroll's DC rather than a particular spell DC. If a spell is on the spell list for multiple traditions, you choose which tradition to use at the time you activate the scroll. So it's kind of like trick magic item, but just for scrolls.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice too because since you know every single spell skill roll, you get to choose, assuming it's on multiple lists, which one. Like, there are some spells that are both arcane and occult, and if your arcana is higher than your occultism, you can then kind of force it to be an arcane-based spell instead of occult. That's kind of cool. Second level feats, we have Call Implement. I'm guessing this is the Jedi thing where you bring it to you. Let's see, you look down at your hand and find your implement has mysteriously appeared in it as long as it's within 1 mile and on the same plane of existence. If your implement is attended by another creature, that creature can prevent the implement from teleporting away if it succeeds at a will save against your class DC. If the creature succeeds, you can't attempt to call the implement again. You have to track the creature down and get it back.
beat that ass.
Yeah, it's like I called to me my wand. I called my wand. Who the hell has my wand? Jeremy? Oh, you're getting a butt hurting. And then you go and beat up Jeremy and get your implement back.
Or you know, more mundane means is your character's looking for the TV remote control. Look under the cushions.
Oh, thank you, Les Thought. Investigatory. I knew that word, and that stressed "g" threw me off.
But anyway, next feat is Enhanced Familiar, level 2. You pretty much get to buff up that familiar. You select 4 familiar or master abilities each day instead of just 2.
Yeah. Which is good, because, if you actually want to start building a familiar-based thaumaturge, whatever, you can. That's going to be essential.
One, actually, a really good feat would be, a really good familiar for them would be the, what is it? The Weird Stone or something like that. Basically, it's a familiar that you could actually put Eon Stones on.
Yeah. It's got lightheaded for a bit. We have to hurry because we're getting close to that time. Esoteric Warding. When you find flaws and succeed at your reflex knowledge check, in addition to the normal effects, you get a +1 status bonus to your AC against a creature's next attack, and a +1 status bonus to your next saving throw against the creature. These increase to +2 on a crit success. You get these bonuses only once per day against a particular creature. It's a great buff to find flaw, but only get it once.
For a particular creature, though. So just find a different creature.
Yeah. Yeah, you can, I guess. Words is written, you can do that.
Yeah. Anyway, next up is Talisman Esoterica. You know how to assemble the supernatural objects in your Esoterica into a number of temporary talismans. Here's our Talisman Builder. Each day during your daily preparations, you can make 2 talismans with an item level no higher than half your level. You must know each talisman's formula. A talisman created this way is a temporary item and loses its magic the next time you make your daily preparations. You know the formulas for all common talismans in the core rulebook of your level or lower. You remember your talisman formulas through oral tradition or mnemonics.
Mnemonics.
Mnemonics, yeah, exactly. If you don't need a formula book for them, so that's good.
Yeah, so basically it's like kings play chess on fine green sand. There it is. I like this. Yeah, and this is an entire feat that gets you access to an entire gameplay. That's so. It's like you're like, oh, I'm basically 1 part Inquisitor, 1 part Alchemist. If I take the right item, I'm 1 part offhand tank. And and I'm just gonna start making talismans for people like an alchemist would.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, just honestly, the route so far we read, I would just take scroll Thaumaturgy and then Talisman Esoterica, and you use scrolls, you could use talismans, and boom, you keep track of a lot of stuff in your inventory.
Yeah, and you're only a few levels in, so really like measure what you're doing with this class, because you could get overwhelmed really quickly.
Yeah.
4th level, the Draw Warding Circle feat. Prereqs, the Esoteric Antithesis, which you get anyway. Requirements are you have to already be benefiting from the Esoteric Antithesis. The circle is the simplest way to define a closed space, and by drawing a circle out of materials that resonate with a given creature, you define a space that prevents its entry or escape. Oh, this already sounds good. You spend 1 minute constructing a circle along the edges of a 10-foot area burst, using materials you identify in the process. So, yeah, such as salt to keep out a ghost, or anointed silver to contain a devil. Very supernatural. Anyone except those chosen creatures can cross through the circle without trouble, but the chosen creature must attempt a will save against your class DC whenever it attempts to do so. On a failure, chosen creature remains on the same side of the circle, and the action it was using to move across it is disrupted. Creatures other than the chosen creature can spend a total of 3 interact actions scuffing the circle to break the effect early. These actions do not need to be consecutive. Because of the amount of time it takes, typically you construct a circle in advance after investigating a specific creature. A circle remains effective until you either draw another warding circle or your Esoteric Antithesis ends. which tragically means, I think, because that ends just about every other round, I want to say. So tragically means that, like, every 2-3 rounds, you're going to have to complete the circle again and again and again.
I like this because this is essentially you're the Winchester boys.
Yeah, and it's a kind of an interesting crowd control ability that creates like a barrier,
Mm-hmm.
but only for specific creatures. So you really have to make sure that your fight does not contain diversity portfolio of bad guys.
Or just, I was gonna say, I can't. I guess you can't do it within the mechanics, but flavor wise, I was gonna say, or just carry salt with silver dust in it, mixed in with some some iron nails, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you get to kind of BS the fluff. That's what the whole point of this
Yeah,
class
yeah.
is. The minutia does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
Mechanically, it's whatever it does.
Yeah.
But you get to BS what it is. This is your chance to be like the chef who takes pride in the ingredients without
Mm-hmm.
being limited
Ooh, I
to
like
having
that. I
those
like that.
ingredients on hand.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. But anyway, speaking of iron nails, our next feat is called Pact of Fae Glamour. You sworn a pact with Fae powers, granting you the otherworldly appearance of your dreams in exchange for oaths of hospitality. I'm not gonna say anything. As long as you keep your end of the bargain, your base appearance changes indefinitely to any one appearance you wish that is within the bounds of possibility for your ancestry. This effect can't be counteracted or removed except by violating the pact. Additionally, you can cast Illusionary Disguise as a primal innate spell once per day using your Thaumaturge class DC instead of your spell DC if you prefer. In exchange, you promise to accept any Fae's request for hospitality, granting them food, drink, and lodging for up to 3 days and 3 nights. You also promise not to harm any creature to whom you offered hospitality or who has shown hospitality to you, whether or not the creature is Fae, unless the creature does harm first. Refusing hospitality to a Fae or violating hospitality causes you to lose the benefits of this feat until you atone for your transgressions, instantly reverting your appearance to the one you had before the pact.
Interesting. I like that because like that is very I mean, I don't want to say Irish, but like it is very Celtic lore based, which is funny because like that's a lot of lore and mythology being
Yeah.
imposed into one random feat.
Yeah, and also I'm just gonna say, oh, oh, yeah, don't trust the Fae. Just don't trust the Fae. Don't
Oh
trust
yeah,
the
if
Fae.
anyone's like, I want to be a fairy, it's like, no, you don't. They are
Yeah,
bad and they do bad.
yeah, yeah. They just have really good
Uh,
PR.
yeah, they have great artists doing some cool stuff, and that is, oof. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
one more activation. You forge a deeper connection to your invested items, allowing you to activate them more than usual. Once each day, you can activate an item you've invested even after you've used the activation the maximum number of times for its frequency. You can do so only if the item's level is half your level or lower, has a frequency of once per day or more, and you haven't already used the activation this round. That that is so cool. So if you have like a wand of something and it's like, oh, 3 times a day you can cast Fireball at this level. Screw you, I'm doing it a fourth. Like that is so cool.
Yeah, I'm just envisioning it's kind of like getting the last bit of ketchup out of a glass bottle. You're like, come on, one more, one
Yeah,
more.
it's gonna milk this thing, just squeeze it all out. There we go.
All right. Next up is Thaumaturgic Ritualist. Wow, I said that right. I said that completely right. Feat level 4, your studies into the supernatural have resulted in especially strong knowledge of rituals. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to all primary checks to perform a ritual. You learn 2 uncommon rituals with a level no higher than half your level. You must meet all prerequisites for casting the ritual to choose it. At 8th level and every 4 levels thereafter, you learn another uncommon ritual with a level no higher than half your level, and for which you meet the prereqs. You can cast these as the primary caster, but you can't teach them to anyone else or allow someone else to serve as primary caster unless they know the ritual as well. Wow.
Ooh,
I just
that's
want.
really
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
No, that's right. What you're saying?
I was going to say, this class with their feats work very well with a lot of the various different types of archetypes in Pathfinder, actually.
Yeah, you also and with like archetypes, and
Archetypes,
also with
sorry.
that you get that's okay. And with that you get access to a lot of fun things that most
Yeah.
people don't really consider, like rituals, like really really cool free magic that takes the time to cast. But like level 1, you can do Abyssal Pact. You attempt to conjure other demons to assist you.
Yeah.
Angelic Messenger. You can get Elemental Sentinel. You can place a tiny Elemental Wisp within a single object, usually a mirror, statue, or other mundane-looking item, to serve as an alarm. You get a free alarm spell.
Yeah. No, like, honestly, rituals, after, like, reading through rituals more, they are so powerful. Honestly, I'm surprised more people don't use them in games, honestly.
I think it's because they don't require a spell slot, unlike the other edition, where ritual is basically just a spell that you would normally be able to cast, but now you take a 10-minute casting time to cast it for free, effectively. This is so much more than that. A ritual is exactly that. It is its own thing that functions differently. And so at level 4, just level 4, mind you, a thaumaturgist can basically be a paladin, a cleric, a wizard, and a witch all in one character.
Yeah. Honestly, like, just if you need be, just perform your rituals during their daily prep.
Yeah. And I also like this because this next one, Turn Away Misfortune, is a reaction. The triggers, you would attempt a roll affected by a misfortune effect. You perform a superstition, such as casting salt over your shoulder to ward off bad luck. Turn Away Misfortune's fortune trait cancels out the misfortune effect, causing you to roll normally. And that's what I like about this. It is like the minutia of superstition.
Yeah.
Like, throwing the thing over your shoulder, or like knocking 3 times when you hear something terrible. Like, it's empowering these kind of silly things like, a cat crossed your path. If you don't want to have bad luck, you're going to have to like spit 3 times. And it's giving you actual mechanical benefits for that.
I'm loving the flavors of all these feats that basically helps you build a character's personality.
Yeah, personality, and really it gives players so much juicy role play to choose to do, and there's a real like an actual mechanical benefit. Because sometimes it's like, hey, do you want to role play? Yeah, okay, cool. What's the point of this though, besides having fun with my friends? Is there something that's actually helpful? Yes, sign me up.
All right, we are now in the level 6 feats. Oh yeah, it's my turn. Next one is called Handy Esoterica. You include just about anything you might need amid all your Esoterica. You gain the Persistent Planner and Persistent Consumable feats. When using Persistent Planner, you can pull out the item as a 2-action ability to remove your backpack or similar container and draw the item rather than taking 1 minute. So it's like quick draw, basically, for like items.
Yeah. So I just had an epiphany. What this class really is. This is the Witcher.
Ooh, yeah.
The ability to wield weapons just as well, if maybe not as well, but almost as well as a fighter, definitely a barbarian. Get bonus damages for like researching your target, hunting down your target, and killing your target. Witcher. Getting abilities to create talismans, temporary buffs, and other items, elixirs even, to give you an edge over the thing you're hunting down to kill. Witcher. Everything, and having little magical components and symbols and old world folklore to empower you killing your target. These are Witchers, my dudes. If you want to play a Pathfinder 2nd Edition Witcher game, pick up an all Thaumaturgy crew and see what you can do.
Ooh, dude, that'd be awesome.
Oh my god, all the recall, knowledge, and study feats, like this is Witching 101, and
PJ,
it's so good.
PJ, we might have to add another one-shot idea to the millions of one-shot ideas we already have.
Hey, I am down to do a Witcher one-shot where everyone's playing a thaumaturgist, and then someone's like, you have to go get a dragon. Okay, what kind of dragon is it?
Yeah, we all need to be a Witcher that specializes in a different implement.
Yeah, Reap Psyche just jumped in the chat. I heard Witcher class. What are we talking about? Yeah, and Panku Chance. Oh my ghost, it totally is. The Thaumaturgist, or the Thaumaturge, is basically a Witcher. at least at the cat school. I mean, I'm not gonna say bear because like they all work a little differently.
Yeah. Yeah, it's your turn now.
Okay. I believe we are. I think I'm doing handy.
Scroll Esoterica. We already did
Scroll
handy.
as we already did. Thank you. You are correct. So prerequisites. You have to be a scroll thaumaturgist or have scroll thaumaturgy from level 1, I believe. Your Esoterica collection includes scraps of scriptures, magic tomes, druidic markings, and the like, which you can use to create temporary scrolls.
Ooh.
What? Each day during your daily prep, you can create a single temporary scroll containing a first level spell of any tradition. The spell must be common, or you must otherwise have access to it. The scroll is unstable. Temporary item loses magic the next time you make your daily preparations. So you basically get to create for yourself a temporary level 1 spell every day. It cannot be used to learn the spell. So like you cannot create a spell and then have someone go, oh, let me just copy that down. Doesn't work that way. At 8th level, you can add a secondary temporary scroll containing a 2nd level spell. You could make 2 heal spells or 2 harm spells, and then you're just adding more to the party.
Dude, if you pick up this class and then take the archetype of Talisman Dabbler, which I believe there's a feat that allows you to make also temporary scrolls or something like that. No, scroll trickster or something.
I think it's like Scroll Master, right?
Yes. No. Scroll Master's different. Scroll something. But anyway, either way, this feat tree works very well with that archetype.
Yo, I just think it's cool because it gives you access to magic that you normally wouldn't have, and it's still based off your Thaumaturge DC.
Yeah.
So you're not lagging behind magic. Yeah, granted, you don't have a lot of access to spells, but you don't need it. You're a ritual caster who can basically do 3 types of smites and expose weaknesses.
Yeah.
Like you're fine.
You're gonna be okay if you're in the thick of things. You're gonna be okay if you're surrounded by goblins. Okay, sword swipe, wand implement, burst. Anyway. We're now on our last level 6 feat, and this one's called Rule of 3. Ooh, I like that. 1 action. The prereq for this is Find Flaws. Frequency, once per round. Requirements, you are benefiting from Esoteric Antithesis that you can see you're benefiting from Esoteric Antithesis, you can see the subject, and you haven't used Find Flaws this round. You learn that there is a great value in repetition. Knock, 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 penny, 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 penny. Especially in sets of 3. You must be able to speak your intent to the world and call out to the subject of your esoteric antithesis. Penny, penny, penny. But the subject doesn't need to understand or even hear you for your Rule 3 to take effect. The benefits depend on how many times you utter the Rule 3 and last as long as the creature is subject to your esoteric antithesis. First utterance. No benefits. If you use Find Flaws in the presence of the creature, that counts as the first utterance, but not if you found flaws while investigating the creature. Second utterance. You gain a +1 status bonus to attack rolls against the creature. Third utterance. The status bonus to the attack rolls against the creature increases to +2, and the creature becomes flat-footed against your attacks.
I'm saying this is the Witcher thing, because like if you get the third utterance, right? Not only get a +2 bonus, but they're flat-footed. That effectively combines to giving you a +4 to hit the target.
Yeah, and this is great, especially if you know you're going to be in combat that takes long combats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, and now they're only flat-footed to you, but if you wanted to be School of the Snake, please correct me if I'm wrong. I forgot about this. You could also get a multi-class into Rogue. Your sneak attack won't be as dummy thick as a Rogue's is, but considering all the damage you're doing on your base weapon, and then you're adding an extra 1d6 sneak attack, and you could do so all the time because everything about this class is about flat-footing your target. So you're just dropping these like bunches of bananas. That's not a phrase.
It's a phrase now. But
Ah.
now we're moving on to the 8th level feats. PJ, why don't you take this first one here?
Elaborate Talisman Esoterica. Prerequisite, you have to have the Talisman Esoterica. As you continue to collect Talismanic Esoterica, you improve your ability to create temporary talismans. You can create 4 temporary talismans each day instead of 2.
Seriously, you could become a builder, like basically magic builder class with this and the scroll one. Next up is Incredible Familiar. Prereq for this is you have to have Enhanced Familiar. Multidisciplinary magic theory grants your familiar even more magic than other familiars. You can select a base of 6 familiar or master abilities each day instead of 4. So yeah, this is seriously you can build up your character to be focused on familiars with Familiar Master.
So
and works very well here.
Michael, you need to go look in the chat at what Reap Psyche put there because I think you get a kick out of it.
Oh God. First utterance, Uma Guai 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 Di Dao. Second utterance, Uma Guai Guai. Third utterance, yeah. Essentially, I want to play Uncle at some point and use this class.
Dude, you could totally build Uncle with the Thaumaturgist and having like the I don't know what the item would be, but like
it's a dry blowfish. A dry blowfish.
Sure, but I don't know like what the implement, like how that implement would work. Would it be an amulet? Would it be a lantern?
It would be. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, please. What do you think it would be?
I would say it would be either amulet or lantern. Either one actually works.
Yeah, and like you'd be like a. That's when you take ritual for Uncle, because that boy was just ripping out the good rituals, the good writs, as no one says. So yeah,
PJ, good magic must defeat bad magic.
But Uncle, I have a talisman that makes me the Flash. I could just punch them until he dies.
Smack.
Okay. Oh God, I think you could dual wield talismans in that show. You could get like the ox and the bunny rabbit, and then just become Superman. All right, next up, know-it-all. When you've heard of something at all, you've heard about it at length. When you succeed at a knowledge check, you can gain additional information or context. When you critically succeed at a knowledge check, at the GM's discretion, you might gain even more additional information or context than normal. So this is good, but again, this one's entirely based on a GM discretion, and so you may be stuck with a GM who's like, I'm juggling like 19 plates right now. I can't give you guys more information. I'm gonna try, but I may not have any to give. And then you're stuck with a dead feat. Yeah,
I mean, at that point, especially if you're the GM, if I'm the GM, I would let my player just like, you know what, just pick a different feat. It'll be better for everybody.
100%.
All right, next up is this is something I think a certain investigator would probably end up doing. Pact of Infernal Prowess. Feat level 8. You sworn a pact with devils. Granting you success in life in exchange for your soul in the afterlife. Once per day, when you critically fail a check, you could re-roll the check as a free action. This is a fortune effect. Additionally, you could choose to automatically succeed at checks to earn income for tasks below your level without rolling. Okay, you know what? I'm taking back. This is not a certain investigator. This is a certain ranger.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Please continue.
However, when you die, your soul is consigned to hell. Consigned to hell. You can't be returned to life except by powerful magic such as a miracle. And even then, the devils responsible for the contract can track your every move for 1 year. The devils gain the effects of discern location spell. They can also use 10th level scrying on you, and you automatically critically fail your saving throw. Special, you can't retrain out of Pact of Infernal Prowess without journeying to hell and destroying the devil's written contract, spelling out the terms of your pact. Okay, I love the flavor for this, and it's such a good story hook.
Yeah, this feat is entirely free plot. The benefits are nice, but this is honestly nothing that a hero check or a hero point wouldn't accomplish anyway. If you're taking this feat, first of all, this feat is an uncommon feat. You're basically telling your GM, this we're doing this. We're doing this story. I'm going to F up. I'm going to find out. I'm going to go to hell, and we're going to get me back. Like, 1,000%.
PJ.
Yeah.
This is a deal you make to become a ghostwriter.
Ooh, I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
I mean, the only difference I think is that a ghostwriter would be like, I have so much more power than this. I can kill God if I want to. Whereas this one's like, one time when I suck, I don't. But it's still really cool. Yeah. It's still a really cool story feat. Let's see. Next up, Sympathetic Weakness. You've learned how to expand your invocation of Esoterica to apply not just a specific individual, but other creatures with similar weaknesses, bringing you greater power. While you benefit from Esoteric Antithesis, your strikes also count towards the weakness of any other creature within the same weakness your Esoteric Antithesis is set to. For instance, if you're using Esoteric Antithesis on a red dragon, revealing weakness 20 to cold and causing your strikes to deal that additional damage, you would also deal additional damage to the dragon's fire elemental minions, which have a weakness 10 to cold. No other effects of Esoteric Antithesis apply to other creatures with the same weakness, and this feat has no effect when you create a custom weakness in a creature that otherwise has none. So this is potentially cool. Basically, if someone has a greater weakness, it lets you apply the greater weakness to everyone that has that weakness in the fight. Yeah. That's cool. Very niche, but still very cool.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, I would, at late level, I would go with either Elaborate Talisman Esoterica or Incredible Familiar. Or if you want to go story-wise, Pact of Infernal Powers, just for that story hook, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, what I love about this class is how much side benefit it brings, bringing in talismans, bringing in rituals, potentially even going down the deep path of scroll scribing.
Yeah.
It offers so much. And I think this next one you're going to love, Michael.
Well, before we jump into that, I just want to read chat. Reap Psyche also said, posted, I think this is related to the Pact of Infernal Prowess. You could also become like Spawn. Just like a minor Spawn, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not like the full god level that Spawn was at, but definitely the same story of like being bound to hell. Yeah, a tadpole Spawn.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. We are now at the level 10 feats, and this one's called Share Antithesis. One action, prereq is Esoteric Antithesis. Requirements, your Esoteric Antithesis is set to a weakness its subject has, not a custom weakness. You apply Esoterica to adjacent allies' weapons and body. That ally strike apply the weaknesses of the subject of your Esoterica the same way your strikes do. This benefit ends when Esoteric Antithesis ends or you share Antithesis again. You can't share a custom weakness you created with Esoteric Antithesis, only a weakness the creature has normally. Yeah. So your allies could just share your Esoteric Antithesis weakness.
Yeah. To any adjacent, I think it's only one ally, but still, that's if you have a rogue or you have a barbarian, someone who's known for doing massive amounts of burst DPS, you can be like, oh god, this hurts to think about. Hey, barbarian, you have like a plus so much to hit. I'm just going to give you let's see, level 10. I'm going to give you basically like a +7 damage on top of your rage and plus everything else. Go crit and turn that into a 14.
Yeah. And also, if you have the Lantern Implement, you can make them your enemy flat-footed, so that's further debilitating them.
100%, yeah. Now it's ones that basically it's the custom ones, and also Paizo, thank you for allowing the custom weakness, because otherwise this ability would suck because you could only use it depending on who you're fighting. This makes it open for all creatures.
Oh, it says you can't share a custom weakness.
This you can't. But what I'm saying is the general thing of the Esoteric Antithesis allowing you to custom make one so you can still benefit a little bit. So much better. Yeah. Yes, my apologies. I know that was very confusing, so my apologies for that. Next up, Thaumaturge Investiture. This is a prereq of Charisma 16, so get that Charisma up by level 10. Using your knowledge of Esoterica, I mean, at level 10, you should already be there.
Yeah.
Using your knowledge of Esoterica and implements, you can invest far more items than most. You gain the incredible investiture skill feat. Come on, PJ. Increasing your limit on invested items from 10 to 12. Oh, and it gets better. The limit increases to 14 if you have a charisma of 18. You get 16 items if you have a charisma of 20.
Ooh.
You can get 18 magical items if you have a charisma of 22. And you can get 20 magical items if you have a charisma of 24.
PJ, you know I love my magic items.
So who doesn't? You can get a magical weapon, magical armor. You can just be dripping in magical items.
Oh, the drip game is strong with this character.
The peep is feared. The fit is feared by ghosts alike. It's so good.
Ooh, the next feat. Ooh, I'm already. I'm liking the name already. Twin Weakness. 2 actions. Prereq is Esoteric Antithesis. You're holding an implement and a weapon, and the subject of your Esoteric Antithesis is within reach of both. As you make an attack augmented by your Esoterica, you also press your implement against a creature to apply its weakness. Make a melee strike against the subject of your Esoteric Antithesis on any attack roll result, but any attack roll result but a critical failure. You also press your implement against the creature, applying its weakness from Esoteric Antithesis. This is in addition to any damage from your strike, including the weakness it applies. This counts as 2 attacks when calculating your multiple attack penalty. Ooh, I like this. I'm just envisioning right now, you have an Amulet implement and it's pure silver, and you're fighting a werewolf. You press down that implement on a werewolf, and then you have a hammer, and you slam. You're hitting the what is it? The amulet with the hammer.
So this took me a while to figure out, but this is busted as F. This lets you apply the weakness damage twice.
Yeah.
So that means if they have a weakness 20 and you strike, and it's part of it, which means you can still use 1 action to buff your attack before you strike, and then the next 2 is you. Oh god, the thing we covered at level 1, where basically make a little gesture or wave your implement, and you add a flat damage rate that stacks with everything else.
Yeah.
So you do that, and then you cast, and then you do Twin Weakness.
Yeah,
oh my god!
Fat stacks upon fat stacks.
Just counting stacks on the racks. My god, Twin Weakness. Yeah. Guys, I want to play this. I want to play this class so bad.
Same. All right. Well, we are now in the level 12 feats. PJ, why don't you take it away with Elaborate Scroll Estoterica?
Elaborate Scroll Esoterica. Your connection to your Scroll Esoterica grows stronger, allowing you to create much more powerful scrolls. In addition to your daily scrolls at 1st level and the 2nd level, level 8, add a scroll with a 3rd level spell. At 14th level, add a scroll with 4th level. At 16, add a 5th level scroll. 5th level spells don't suck, y'all. They're really solid.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, I'm really loving this class.
I mean, the fact that they streamlined being a caster as well. You basically get 1 spell of everything from 1st to 5th level. Yeah, it's limited, but it's on top of everything else.
Yeah. Next feat is called Pact of the Final Breath. You sworn a pact with a powerful psychopomps, typically an Othello's advocate or a Yamaraj judge, granting you a reprieve before your soul will be collected in exchange for respect for the dead and assistance against the undead. As long as you keep your end of the bargain, you live twice as long as you normally would before dying of natural causes. Additionally, the first time each day that you would be reduced to 0 hit points and gain the dying condition, you instead regain a number of hit points equal to your level, starting from 0 HP. Remain conscious and gain fast healing equal to half your level for 3 rounds. In addition, you swear to treat the dead you've come across with respect, performing last rites and final dispositions to ensure their spirits rest in the afterlife and are less likely to rise as undead. Furthermore, you swear to destroy undead you come across as long as it's within your power to do so, without the inordinate risk to yourself. Violating your part of the pact causes its protections to immediately end. If at that point you already live beyond your natural lifespan, the cycle prompts typically give you a few moments to make any last farewells, and then you simply breathe your last breath and pass on.
So just like Pact of the Infernal Pact, this comes with amazing story potential. It's at level 12, so like this could be the end of some campaigns that you're playing. But the frickin' fact that you automatically come back from 0 HP with your level, which is 12 HP, and you get fast healing equal to half your level, which is 6 at this point for 3 rounds. The cleric only has to drop 1 heal on you, and then if you're by yourself, you're good. You're fine.
Yeah, this is basically just insurance. You're basically just buying insurance in feat form. And I also want to say, imagine this with Die Hard.
Oh, well, the good thing about Die Hard is that it gives you an extra dying condition before you do die. So it wouldn't really affect too much. But there is one. Oh God, what's it called? Maybe it is Die Hard. Where you recover more HP on a rest.
I was going to say Die Hard made for the fact that, you die, you come back with this feat, and then if you die again, because I think this only happens once, this doesn't happen every time you jump to 0. This is basically adding, once again, it's insurance, and then you have a little something in your back pocket.
I see what you're saying. So basically, when you get up from all that HP, it doesn't happen again until the next day. Yeah. So it would effectively kind of be a buffer. Oh no, it'd still be 5 rounds. Either way, it's a good combination.
It's insurance.
It's insurance, absolutely.
Insurance, not insurance.
I mean, assurance too.
Sure.
Quick circle. You have to have the warding circle we mentioned earlier, the very supernatural one. Long hours of practice and an instinctive understanding of boundaries lets you. Sorry.
No, I just got it.
Sorry. Lets you create protective circles impossibly quick. As you fling your Esoterica during a quick spin, you find that everything falls in a perfect circle each time. You can draw a warding circle as a 3-action activity instead of taking 1 minute to do so. That is great. You don't have to preset for combat. You could be in combat and go, "You shall not pass," and there you go.
Yeah, like I said, you're experienced Winchester brother there.
I'm almost thinking of like Yuna from Final Fantasy X, spinning with that staff that she has.
I'm also thinking the girl on the Morton Salt box.
Sorry, I'm just laughing now at the idea of her going like, "Morton Salt for everyone.
Yeah,
no ghost shall pass."
Not a lot of people know, but she's a thaumaturgist. Thaumaturgist.
Drink.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Thaumaturge Demise, Demence.
Demence.
Why don't you knock that out?
Demence. You have claimed an area or location as your demence, granting you the ability to ward and protect it. When you select this feat, choose a demence, an area of no more than 200 square feet. You must legitimately claim the area. In the case of a building or property, you must own it, and in the case of an unowned plot of land, no other inhabitants could contest your claim. Once you've chosen your demence, it becomes automatically protected with an arcane private sanctum spell with an unlimited duration, heightened to half your level rounded up, and using your Thaumaturge class DC in place of spell DC if necessary. Additionally, the Demise is attended by 3 unseen custodians as called by a successful unseen custodian ritual, Advanced Player's Guide, page 245. And 1 object in the area gains an elemental sentinel as a successful elemental sentinel ritual, Secrets of Magic, page 150. So this might not be useful if your party is like traveling all over the place, but if your party is like, it's an urban campaign, this is actually really good, really nice.
Yeah. You're basically creating like a sorcerer's sanctum. Yeah. And now this is completely pedantic, but I do want to correct myself. I was wrong. It wasn't demence. It's actually a French word. It's demon.
Demon? Oh.
Demon. And it's basically where we get the word domain from.
Ah.
Yeah. So you are literally creating your own domain.
Yeah. Ooh. This with the vigilante feats.
Ooh, that could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you are not only creating your own domain, but you're giving yourself a magical custodian and a magical like elemental boss just protecting it.
If you play this class, you could be Magic Batman. You could be Magic Batman.
Magic Man. No, that sounds bad. Next up, level 14, you get Esoteric Reflexes. Prerequisites is an implement that grants a reaction, which I think most of these do, except for the wand. Your connection to your implements is so strong that you can use their reactive abilities almost by instinct. At the start of your turn, you gain an additional reaction, which you can use only for the reactions granted by your implements. Yo, considering the weapon lets you basically do an attack of opportunity to disrupt something and do minimum damage, and considering that the amulet gives party members defensive buffs, like that's really good.
Yeah. Ooh! I can't wait to find out what the other implements are once this class gets finalized.
Yeah, because I think we still have like 2 or 3 more. Yeah, four more to look forward to.
Yeah, there's going to be 9 implements.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, next up is called Grand Talisman Estoterica. Prereq is you have to have elaborate Talisman Esoterica. You have completed your journey into studying esoteric talismans, granting yet more temporary talismans each day. Now you can create 6 temporary talismans each day instead of 4. Yeah. Just gonna say that. Yeah.
The build, one of the things I do love about this is they do a very good job of creating distinct builds and then like leveling them up. So if you want to be a talisman thaumaturge, which totally makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. Pick this up with Talisman Dabbler.
Oh, sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Shared warding. You ward your allies from the attacks of your foes whenever you apply those protections to yourself. Oh man, when you gain a status bonus to AC and saves from Esoteric Warden, you can also choose to grant the same benefit to all allies within 30 feet. I believe that AC bonus is a +1 to AC and a +1 to willpower saves for Esoteric Warden.
Yeah.
It's not the biggest buff, but considering that you're adding it to any other non-same type buff for the whole party, does come in clutch a lot.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of the marshals, one of the martial buffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, we are now here on the level 16th feats with Implausible Esoterica. Ooh. Let's see. Prereq is Handy Esoterica. It seems impossible, but your Esoterica is so eclectic? Yeah, I was thinking, that's eclectic, right? And complete that you could keep pulling out exactly the item you need, even in far-flung locations. You can use Persistent Planner even if you already used it after purchasing goods, and you can use it as a single action instead of 2-action activity during which you interact to draw the item. In addition, 5 times per day you can use Persistent Planner to pull out a common consumable item up to a level of 6 levels lower than your level. So 10th level items, that's still really good.
Yeah, I mean, like we're playing those with Firebrand and the feather token, Michael, which my confusion, my apologies. I thought it was a dancing rune on something. Mm-hmm. The fact that like a level 10, you're making a level 13 item appear, like it's a really good thing.
I'm just gonna say this. That's not my only one.
Oh, I'm sure you got more. Mm-hmm. Next one, level 16, implements flight. By weakening your connection to the ground and strengthening your connection to the sky, you've learned to soar through the air, and your implement carrying you as surely as any broomstick or pestle. As long as you're holding your implement, you gain a fly speed equal to your land speed. This is Thor. This is Thor from the Marvel Comics. And his implement is his weapon, which it really is.
If I play a Thaumaturgist, can I invent the Roomba and fly on that?
The Roomba Witch.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You could be the inventor Thaumaturgist and
invent
your stuff.
Oh, dude, that would be awesome, actually.
That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah. But anyway, I like the name of the next feat. It's called Sever Magic. It's 2 actions. You're holding an implement in one hand. You apply a frayed threat, a pinch of voodoo ash, or a similar undone charm, and you swing to break a spell. Make a strike against an enemy, and if you hit and deal damage, you attempt to counteract a single spell active on the target, your choice. Your counteract level is equal to half your level rounded up, and your counteract check modifier is equal to your class DC minus 10. Ooh, this is really good to get rid of buffs on an enemy.
I think this may be one of the best versions of counterspell.
Yeah.
Now, it's limited because it cannot be a spell that's immediately happening.
Mhm.
Okay, that's rough. But if someone's casting a debuff on your teammate and you don't mind hitting them, or if they buff them themselves, yeah, you roll to hit them, deal damage, and remove the buff, and you don't have to have the spell prepared or in your repertoire. No matter what it is, you're removing, you're dispelling the spell.
Yeah, I like this. I really do.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
Trespass Teleportation. It's a reaction feat. Prereq has to be Esoteric Antithesis. Trigger, the subject of your Esoteric Antithesis uses a teleportation effect and is within 120 feet, and you are benefiting from Esoteric Antithesis. Your mystical connection to your foe is so strong that you can follow them to the ends of this world or any other. You teleport along with the foe, appearing at the same direction and distance from it as you were before it teleported away, or the nearest unoccupied space if your destination is occupied. I think this is funny. It reminds me a lot of what the Avenger in D&D 4e could do. They could basically teleport to pursue their target.
PJ, do you remember that movie called Jumper?
Yeah, with Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, that's what's kind of reminded me of. Like, if there was one fight scene where there was two teleporters just like chasing after each other all over the world. That's how I'm envisioning this.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's as global as like I'm going from Egypt to Paris, but still, like the vibe is very strong
like,
there.
I'm going 10 feet. I'm teleporting 10 feet. I'm following you in that 10 feet.
I said, by my oath, I shall track you down to the end of the world and slaughter you. What if I actually go to the end of the world? That's still my oath. I'll beat your ass there in front of everyone. Let's go.
All right. It's like, I'm calling you out back after school.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. We are almost done.
Level 18th feats now. Grand Scroll Esoterica. Wow, this is a really long tree. This is a really long tree, actually. You completed the third and final step in your assimilation of Scroll Esoterica, granting you daily scrolls of incredible power. In addition to your daily scrolls from your Scroll Esoterica and Elaborate Scroll Esoterica, add a single scroll with a 6th level spell. At 20th level, add a scroll with a 7th level spell. See. Oh, that's it? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is cool. That you're almost level 20 at this point. You now have one spell a day from level 1 to level 7. And it's literally any spell that you have the knowledge of, which, by the way, is all knowledge. So
yeah. Any spell list.
Yeah, you could basically pick and pull. Like, I'm gonna have this divine spell, this arcane spell, this occult spell, this primal spell.
PJ. Also, especially considering they just released Secrets of Magic, which adds so many more cool spells.
Yeah. All of the the elemental spells and things like that. Oh my god. Next one, level 18 feet. Implements Assault. It's a 3-action ability. You're holding both an implement and a weapon, which, if I'm honest, if I'm making a thaumaturgist, that's how I'm going. You use your implement to gather physical magic and channel it into your weapon, empowering it to shoot in impossible volleys of missiles or soar across the battlefield and carve through your foes. Make a strike with your weapon against each foe within 30 feet of you. Don't increase your multiple attack penalty until making all of the attacks. If your weapon is a melee weapon and any of the attacks are outside your reach, you release the weapon before the strikes and it returns to your grasp after all of them. If your hands are full when the weapon returns, it falls to ground spaces in front of you. As normal, if your weapon requires one or more actions to reload between strikes, you can't use it to make multiple attacks with this thing. So if you just have a sword, you're now basically attacking I hate to say this, you're Yondu. You're Yondu with a short spear, and it's just blazing around, like attacking everything within 30 feet of you.
Or if you're Link and you have full health and you have the Master Sword, you're just shooting the sword beam.
But it's like it's to everything within 30 feet of you so this is your full action. Your full round is just blitzing everyone. That's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah. All right, next up is Intense Implement. You have an exceptional connection to one of your lesser implements, allowing you to tap into more of its power. You gain the Adept benefit for one of your implements for which you only have the Initiate benefit.
That's not bad
Yeah.
because the book recommends focusing your implement gains so that you get the Paragon benefit, which is the best benefit. And the
Mm-hmm.
problem with this is that this kind of limits
The
how strong
others.
the
Yeah.
other exactly. So level 18, not only do you get a fully charged, fully powerful implement, but now you get another one that's like 2/3 done. That's pretty
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We are now finally at the capstone at the 20th level feats. See. Why don't you take the first one?
Ubiquitous antithesis. So that 5 times fast. Ubiquitous antithesis. Prerequisites, you have to have the shared antithesis, the one that basically gave you the perks to at least one other ally within 30 feet. You've channeled your power into the connections you formed with your comrades, allowing you to share the benefit of your Esoterica with all of them.
Mm.
Whenever you use Esoteric Antithesis, all your allies within 30 feet gain the benefits as well. Since this effect depends on magically strengthening your connection to your allies, only allies with whom you've developed a connection with over the course of 1 or more days gain the benefit, rather than the new allies, read NPCs, you've just met. Now, this is level goddamn 20.
Mm-hmm.
This means the benefit of your Esoteric Antithesis is either 22 bonus damage or whatever the hell the weakness is of a CR20 creature you are fighting +2. Could you imagine if everyone started doing 22 bonus damage?
Yeah.
Or if no one has like the cold weapons and you're fighting like a level CR21 fire dragon and it gets like a weakness 20 to cold, suddenly everyone's doing 22, if not more,
Yeah.
cold damage
Yeah. Yeah.
on
Yeah.
top of everything?
Yeah. And also, I would say if like say we had a level 20, we're finally level 20, and someone's Thaumaturgist. I would say like our friendly NPCs like what is it? Hera, Antigone, and Morel, and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not considered new allies anymore, right?
Oh no, at this
At
point
this
they're not
point,
new allies. You've been
they're
traveling them
family.
like at least half a year almost.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
it's like Fast and Furious. They're family.
Nothing stronger than family, even esoteric antithesis.
Esoteric family.
I love Adam Jenner put in the chat for context. The Baelor, which is a level 20 demon, has a weakness cold 20, cold iron 20, and good 20. So if you have a barbarian, a rogue, and let's say a swashbuckler
Mm-hmm.
that do not possess cold, cold iron, or good type damage, they rage, they sneak attack, they swashbuckle. It's all their stupidly awesome damage +20. And if they crit, that's a bonus. I'm sorry, 22. And if they crit, that's a bonus
Oh,
44.
PJ, remember the gunslinger's ability that I pulled out last game? The
Which one?
When I actually was able to finally shoot my guns.
Oh yeah, your master level 8 or
Yeah,
5 or whatever. Jeez.
yeah. Imagine that with this.
Uh
Oof.
just it's I love thought we gotta do that Witcher 1 shell where everyone's a
Yeah,
thaumaturgist and maybe we get like one free multi-class feat just so that we have something different about each of us. But
yeah.
oh my god.
All right. Next up is okay. How do you pronounce the second word? I know how to pronounce unlimited, but unlimited
Yeah.
the French
So
word.
it's supposed to be pronounced with French demon or demand, but it's
Demand.
basically where we get the word domain from. So if you want to say ultimate domain or unlimited domain, I don't think
Yeah, I'm gonna say unlimited
that's
demand.
okay.
Thaumaturgist demand is the prereq. You can move your demand from place to place, bring it along with you wherever your journey takes you. Once per day, you can invoke the demand and call it forth in a process that takes 1 minute. This has the effects of Resplendent Mansion, except that it conjures forth your demands from its previous location with all the benefits of Thaumaturgist demands, in addition with the benefits of the spell. You must be able to claim the new area as your demands with the same restrictions as Thaumaturgist demands.
So like you can't throw this up in the middle of like McDonald's because you don't own a McDonald's and someone does and they're gonna kick you out.
Yeah. But you could like Oh man, that'd be cool. Kind of like throw up a pup tent or something. There you go.
Yeah, and that's cool because if you missed this original ability, yeah, basically you get this little specially protective area that you get to stay in. You get an automatic permanent invisible butler and a summoned elemental guardian who's just always there. So yeah, level 20 makes sense. Like before we fight the big bad, poof, let's take a long rest and get everything back, and then we'll kick this guy's ass tomorrow.
Yeah. Whew. Anyway, we are now finally here at the last and final feat. PJ, why don't you take it away?
Final feat, level 20 capstone feat for the Thaumaturgist, the Wonder Worker. Prereqs, you have to be legendary in Arcana, Nature, Occultism, or Religion, which, if we're being honest, not hard for this class.
Yeah.
You've transcended to the culmination of the Thaumaturge's path, gaining the ability to work wonders. Once per day, you can call upon your power to cast a spell of 8th level or lower that takes 1, 2, or 3 actions to cast. The spell must be common or one to which you have access. You can choose a spell of any tradition for which you're legendary and the associated skill. Arcana for Arcane, Nature, Primal, Occultism, Occult, or Religion for Divine. Use your Thaumaturge class DC in place of any necessary spell DC, and your Thaumaturge class DC as 10 minus or minus 10 in place of any necessary counteract modifiers or spell attack modifiers. Holy crap, wait a minute. This means at level 20, you literally can counterspell every spell in the game. Once per day, granted, but still, this means you can do it.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, PJ, question. What level is the Wish spell in Pathfinder?
10.
10?
It's a level 10 spell.
Yeah.
It's a god spell.
Right.
Which characters can still cast level 20. Unfortunately, this class, which is not a caster, does not get access to 10th level spells, which is okay when it still gets one free level 8 spell of which it has a legendary knowledge status of.
Ooh. So, PJ, now we're here at the end. Let's give our final thoughts on this playtest class. What do you think? What's on your mind?
I want to have its babies.
Same.
I want it.
Honestly, I thought I was gonna be all about that psychic class, but Thaumaturge. Okay, your class that's really hard to pronounce. I will learn to pronounce it because I love this class so much.
I have to say this. I love the Thaumaturge class, and I love what it's capable of when you multi-class with it. I love what it's capable of by itself. Not only can it do really good melee damage, and probably the best buff I've ever seen in my life, where instead of the Bard's +1 or +3, you're doing +2 at least half your level. Or what are the actual weaknesses of the creature. So you can just give that buff to yourself whenever, and eventually to give it to other people. You can do magic, you can make talismans, you can do ritual casting spells. Even though you are not a spellcaster, you can almost cast every spell in the damn book.
Yeah, I love how the mechanics work with the flavoring of this class so well, and it fits into honestly any fantasy game, really. I'm really loving this, and the fact that I like that it's not a caster. I like the fact that I kind of want to say it strides the martial class and a support class, but mostly it strides that martial and support class very well and balanced.
I really like the combination of good crunchy melee damage with good crunchy defensive abilities, good crunchy unique character builds, and the fact that like you said, kind of cheats the system a bit. Like, I'm not a magic caster, but I get one of every spell up to level 8, and literally any spell from any domain. So like I'm not limited to just Arcana and maybe multi-classing and getting one other. I get all 4. The fact that you can make talismans, so you're literally investing in crafting, which gives you so much flexibility. I know that when this came out, a lot of people were like, nah, the psychic kind of sucks. And we're like, no, the psychic's amazing. It is.
Mm-hmm.
But compared to the Thaumaturge is so good.
Yeah, the Thaumaturge could pretty much do a little bit of a little bit of everything from every class, but good. How do I explain it? Without a massive drawback, I guess you could say.
It's very focused and streamlined.
Yeah,
to me.
Yeah.
It's like I will do everything. I'm not gonna do it a lot. I'm gonna do it well, but I won't do it often. But what I do will be magnificent. And again, like I know when we were talking about this, we're like, oh man, I really want the Inquisitor. I really want the Inquisitor. I kind of feel like we got the spirit of the Inquisitor without the Inquisitor here with this ability to just summon weaknesses.
Yeah, I mean, you could play an Inquisitor flavored character with the Thaumaturgist. Very easy, you know. It's basically, as an Inquisitor, I feel that kind of locks you to kind of a certain mindset roleplay wise a little bit. But Thaumaturge, you could play as a Inquisitor. You could play as some sort of a mystic dabbler. You could play as Uncle from the Jackie Chan Adventures. Constantine from the movie Constantine. All sorts of stuff. You have options upon options.
And like we stated, this is also a very dead-on hit for the Witcher class. So if you want to play a Witcher game, and I'm saying it now, I don't know when in 2022 we're going to release this because we still have to do Halloween,
Summer,
get back to EOL, and then before the end of the year we got to do the Merry Wives of Woodwork charity game. But somewhere in like maybe the first or second quarter, we'll discuss it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
but we're doing a Witcher game.
Yeah, I believe the Dark Archive book is going to be released early summer-ish.
Okay.
That's what they announced it. And honestly, dude, PJ, if this class was around when we started playing EOL, I think this would have been the class I would have gone with.
Oh, for sure. I can definitely see. Why wouldn't you want to play this class?
I'm honestly, I'm hoping they don't nerf the archetype because we've talked about
hold on, the archetype or the class?
The archetype of this class.
Oh, got it.
I'm hoping they don't nerf it. Nerf it really badly.
I mean, they're gonna have to because, like, in order to make that, because, like, you look in Secrets of Magic, the archetype for the Magus is a neutered version of the Magus, 100%. And I get why. Yeah, I also don't like it, but like, I get why. I feel like it's better to have the Thaumaturge as your main class and then find a really good archetype. Like, if you want to be a front range badass with this thing, not that it isn't already, pick up Champion or Barbarian. Yeah, because Barbarians. Ooh, nothing this class does has a concentration trait on it.
Yeah.
You could do everything while raging.
You could be Conan.
You could 1,000% be Conan and just shaking an effigy at someone while your great sword is bashing them in the face.
Oh, yeah. No, well, I say, because I feel some of the archetypes, they're borderlining on unplayable, you know? For the basic class.
It does make it very rough. That's why I say it really depends on what the multi-class archetype is. Some are great, some aren't.
What I'm saying is I'm hoping the archetype for Thaumaturgist is at least going to be it's playable, you know? You know what I'm saying? It's playable.
100%. You know what? And we'll find out in time.
Yeah.
Speaking of time, we probably should have to close up about that time. I do see some people in the chat, and I really want to shout out Reef Psyche. Said, don't forget the maid game that Sam is supposed to run. I was actually talking to her last night. And Tobias, myself, and Ian, last I checked, we're still on board. We're definitely doing the maid game. Michael, if you want to skip out on that, you can. If you want to join us, that's fine, but you have to put on the maid dress. That's what we're all doing.
I don't mind putting on a maid dress if need be.
All right. So you're here to hear, folks. Somewhere in 2022, the maid game is happening. Sam's going to run it. We're going to have a great time. Oh gosh, everything else. Penguin saying you're making me want to play this class, and I don't do TTRPGs. Do it. Nothing wrong with doing it for the first time. High fives all around. Superstition Barbarian could be really cool. We love you, and I think it's about time we say goodbye. So, Mr. Michael Powell, please tell them who you are and where they can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
Well, as always, I am the dastardly, dashing Michael Powell, and you can find me all over the internet on my social medias, which is at Mr. Kapow. That's MRKAPAO. Or my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/MichaelPowDoesStuff, because I do a lot of stuff, like my YouTube channel, Fantastic Tales of Adventure. And I'm also on a show called Toyzilla Live on the Toyzilla Network channel here on Twitch. That's 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we talk about the latest releases in collectibles, toys, and whatnot, and go down in deep dives of nostalgia fun. So, hope to see you there. How about you, PJ?
Well, my name is PJ McGaw. You all know me. You can find me all over the internet at pj.mcgaw, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Come find me. Come friend me. Let's have fun. And when I'm not here with Mr. Michael Powell on Tuesdays, 3:30 to 5:30, you can find me on Tabletop Rolls on Monday, 7 to 9, playing Strength of Thousands AP with Tabletop Rolls. I think I already said that. Wednesday, tomorrow, is our last episode for the Firebrand St. Jude's Cancer Charity one-shot or game. So come tune in for the exciting conclusion of the entire story. Give what you can to help out St. Jude's and cosplay IRL and our friend Wes IRL. So look forward to seeing you tomorrow night, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And after that, it's Halloween time. Look forward to 3 very scary episodes. And then the 4th one will be What We Do in the Shadows, out of on Prime. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, Thursday of this week, I'll be stepping back in as Barakiel in the Boardroom Armageddon show on live action roleplay. Oh. So you can see me there with our good friend Ryan Omega this Thursday, 7 p.m., playing Barakiel once again. And from what I've heard from last episode, we've basically started founding the Angel Avengers. So we're gonna save the world or die trying, I guess.
Yeah, you're joining the Purgatory Cafe on Thursday then.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. It's kind of like it's a family of shows. Yeah. So I'll be seeing you tomorrow and Thursday, and I'll see you same time, same Nat time, same Nat channel here at the table. Be safe, everyone. But and in Paizo, if you're listening and you want your boy to run a Witcher campaign for your Thaumaturge, call me, message me, Instagram or text, Twitter me. We'll get working and make this a reality. I want in.
I want in. I want in on this.
We could talk, Paizo. Hit me up. I'll do the whole thing. We'll have fun.